Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and that's Mitchell Renz here, host of the number one most watched Raiders show in the world because of the nation. And if you're a real one out there, I want you to scream Raiders right now because we got a brand new head coach in Antonio Pierce, and I don't know if I have been this happy covering this team in a very, very long time. But coming up here live on our show, I'm going to tell you why exactly Josh McDaniels was fired and why Mark Davis decided to promote Antonio Pierce to interim head coach. Then we're going to look at a Raiders-Jets Sunday Night Football preview. I'm going to give you my keys to victory on how Aiden O'Connell and the Silver and Black can take down the New York Jets. Then I figured I would do this. I wanted to figure out a little bit of a different segment because think about how many times on this show we said, oh, that's a McDaniels guy. Oh, that's a Ziegler guy. That's part of their regime. Well, there's a bunch of those players now. And are they on the hot seat? I'm going to tell you which ones are, which ones are not. And as always, if you want to get those questions, comments on the show, hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat. My first question coming up here, and we'll get into the show probably in about 10 to 15 minutes from now. I do have a big announcement before the show does get going, so hear me out here in about 10 minutes. Do you want Antonio Pierce to be the Raiders head coach in 2024? Give me a yes, or I want you to say no. What are you thinking here? Yes or no? Julian Romero says yes. Rudy Mendez, what's up, brother? Gregory.
Wait. Before we start, Hefe KC, you're out of here. F that guy. Get the FKCs flowing. He said some out-of-bounds stuff.
Get him out of here.
About Queen Sarah Auto.
Get him out of here.
You know what?
Get him out of here.
Not in my house.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
Get him out. What
Hefe,
up?
You're done.
Zalesbo, Juan Hernandez, Punchy, Vaca Villain, FKC, Tropical Remy. Yeah, that's my guy, Chugs, right there. Giovanni Tejada, Nicholas Clover says no. Do you want Antonio Pierce to be the Raiders head coach in 2024? My answer is going to be coming up here in a little bit.
F that guy.
What about you? If we're sitting here in the offseason and Mark Davis goes, Antonio Pierce, you're the head coach, how you feeling?
My saying is this.
You say this all the time?
Yeah, everybody who knows me.
This is your where there's
everybody
smoke,
who knows me,
fire.
they're like, this is something that Chug says a lot.
Okay.
If it's not Pierce, it better be a grand slam out of the park signing where it's not a doubt an amazing head coach signing.
So just put that in quotes and put it on a T-shirt. And everyone knows.
Put it on my tombstone.
All right, I got you. I mean, the way that I look at it is if the players want Antonio Pierce, and right now Raiders interim head coaches are 8-5, if they really, truly, oh, he's back, just different name. If they really, really, truly want, and I mean, I'm talking Max Crosby, Devontae Adams, the players that rock the C on the chest. If they go up to Mark Davis and they're like, hey, man, I know you're looking for a player-friendly coach. We want this guy. And if that's the message being sold, I just find it really, really difficult for Davis to say, yeah, you know what? That's not the path we're going to go. I do think that the only way that you can even open up that conversation is if the Raiders show significant progress underneath Antonio Pierce. And we'll talk a little bit more about this coming up here in just a little bit. But, Jeremy, last week was a little bit of a rough week for me in terms of PrizePicks. What's a good saying? I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. I was hoping that all these players, mainly Devontae, were going to be able to put up some big numbers. And this week, I went a little bit more conservative, but I'm still going to really hone in on one player. And remember, if anybody out there wants to do a little fantasy football because PrizePicks is fantasy sports made easy, here are my picks for Sunday Night Football in the Raiders game. I will say, PrizePicks doesn't have any Jets players yet, which this is a game at 36.5 in terms of the total.
I think they might be like, is Aaron Rodgers coming back?
He's not.
He was throwing 50-yard dimes before the game yesterday.
He's not coming back.
Dude, when asked after the game, Derwin James says, when are you coming back? He said, give me a couple weeks.
Yeah. I saw Raw Sports says, your picks are trash, Mitch. Last week they were bad, and sometimes I pick with my heart, and I don't pick with my head.
Hey,
this one I'm picking with my head.
The best part about that, Raw Sports, if you think so, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, get a $100 deposit match.
There you go.
and fade Mitch's picks. If you really believe that. If your sentiment is these picks are trash, put your money where your mouth is. Go there and do the opposite of whatever Mitch is picking. I dare you. Better yet, I double dog dare you.
I mean, I'm going to take Aiden O'Connell less on passing yards. I mean, the Jets' defense is legit. I do forecast that the Silver and Black are really going to try to feature Josh Jacobs similar to what they did last week. And then Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers are going to have a really tough task up against DJ Reed, who right now is the number one corner according to PFF. And then you got Sauce Gardner, who is definitely one of the top corners out there on top of that. So the Jets' defense is not to be slept on. But to me, the Raiders are still the better overall team. And I think, honestly, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to be fading, like, less on everything around the New York Jets offense because they were brutal to watch.
Raw Sports says, Chugs, I don't want to take your job, my boy. Well, I'm glad because we're not giving it to you.
I mean, this is Chat Sports, not Raw Sports.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this was Chat Sport or if this was Raw Sports, how would we even go Raw every show?
Sushi every single Tuesday.
Oh, man. Yikes. That would, instead of boots, we'd just eat raw sushi every day. I don't know. That'd be kind of tough, man. But anyway, seriously, go get started with our sponsor, PrizePicks. This is an unbelievable company, and I love the fact that they're sponsoring the Raiders Report. So a huge shout-out to them. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100.
And something fun that they've been doing is they have specials, crossovers between NFL and NBA. I know. Let me look at some of my
just like that.
Some of my picks. Oh yeah, just ooh.
That was my cross. I mean, without a basketball, you do that on the street. Somebody's just like, "What is this guy doing?"
They had crossovers like Steph Curry and Garrett Wilson. I did more than 9.5 3-pointers made and receptions.
Okay.
So it adds both of them in a more or less than 9.5.
I like it.
It was another one, Victor Wembanyama and Keenan Allen. More than 15.5 rebounds and receptions.
Oh, that's easy.
Easy money.
That's an easy
Easy
one.
money. So if you want to do cool picks like that, they're always trying to push the envelope. They're always trying to do new and exciting things for daily fantasy sports. Go over to PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS.
Got a few super chats to roll through here on the show. And remember, if anybody wants to skip the line, obviously you can use hashtag Raiders down in the comments to get your questions up on screen. But the way that you kind of think of it as like the Disney Fast Pass, skip the line, super chat, just like my guy Venthrak did. Mitch, I'm calling you out. On Sunday, A.J. Cole set the NFL record for punting average in a game, but he doesn't make your top 10 winners list. Show a punter some love. Well, I think the way that you watched my winners and losers show from this morning. Yeah, but the way that I did it, and I thought that I explained it well, maybe I didn't in the beginning of the show, was not so much just the winners from that one game. It was the winners moving on now from Josh McDaniels. Like, now that Antonio Pierce is the head coach, like, where can we go from here and which players are really going to benefit the most? I mean, A.J. Cole has always been a great punter. I mean, he was a great punter when he first got signed as a UDFA, and now he's where he is at. Like, I don't know if the firing of McDaniels does truly impact A.J. Cole at all. If anything, it might give him less opportunities to punt the football. So that was my idea between my top 10 winners and losers. But you know what? I'm glad you're keeping tabs on me. What's up, Buzz-O-Matic? Mitch, did you get my address? Yes. I have it written down. I got all the information that I need, and you will be getting an MVP football very soon.
Buzz, I'll go ahead and put it in the chat right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you guys want to know what Buzz-O-Matic, I'll make you guys a deal. If one person likes the video, I'll put Buzz-O-Matic 69's address in the comments.
We're kidding. We're kidding.
Buzz is like, joke. Buzz is like.
It's a joke.
He's like, I'll like it. What up, Sheffy? All right, I'll let you handle this one.
Oh, God.
This is good.
Chugs, what are the health reasons why you fell down and hurt yourself? Or were you just drunk? If you mentioned it, I missed it. So I was very dehydrated. I wasn't, you know what? Hold on one second. Pause.
Get a sip in there. Glug, 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 glug.
Okay. I was dehydrated. And I did have 1 margarita, 2 margarita, 3 margarita floor. I had 3 margaritas. I was a little dehydrated, and Yeah, weirdly enough, all my other tests came back normal. All my other blood tests,
which I'm happy for.
No broken nose.
Somehow.
No broken ribs.
Nope.
Even though they hurt. But yeah, I don't know how.
The key, which I think we always try to say on the show, and I think when you see the amount of boots that we do, the key that we're always trying to get across here is stay hydrated.
Yeah.
There's nobody that drinks more liquid
shout out to Waterboy. They've really helped me the past couple of days. I've been trying to drink a Waterboy every day to get my hydration up.
I feel that. Let's go to Pico de Gallo. Sup, gentlemen? What do you think the Raiders are going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo? I'm assuming we go get a QB in the next draft. So I will be talking about Jimmy G a little bit and my projection for him going forward.
You are a Raider.
To me, though, all right, hang on here. The Jets just signed Perion Winfrey.
Oh, Browns legend.
Former 4th-round pick. He was out of Oklahoma. I just figured I would bring that up just because. Yep, they just signed Perion Winfrey
Petey
to the practice squad.
Petey.
But
anything we need to know about Perion Winfrey?
Stinks. He stinks.
He literally just said he doesn't play.
Yeah. No, but I think what's going to end up happening, honestly, is that the Raiders are going to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo next season. But the way that they're going to do it, because of the way that his contract's set up, because if you remember, the Raiders first gave him that deal in March, and then as it got closer to the season, they had to restructure his contract, which, I think it's kind of funny. New reports are coming out that Dave Ziegler did not want Jimmy Garoppolo. Josh McDaniels is the one that wanted Jimmy G. But because they had to restructure his contract due to the foot injury, when you look at next year's salary, if the Raiders were to cut him before June 1st, it's like a $28 million dead cap hit, and the Raiders save less than $1 million. However, if they designate him as a post-June 1st cut candidate, then the Raiders can save $13 million. Sure, you're still going to eat about $15, but it's kind of like what the Raiders did with Nick Wachowski before. It's what the Raiders did with Corey Littleton before. He won't be a member of the team because they'll move on from him. He'll sign somewhere else, and then as soon as June 1st rolls around, the Raiders will get that extra $13 million. That's what I think they're going to do with Jimmy.
Vinthrak, if you want to check it out, waterboy.com/chatsports. Something you add to your water to keep your hydration levels up.
Yeah, it's 3 times better than like a liquid IV. I had one. So a lot of times people ask, like Jeremy and I, how the hell do you guys bounce back the next day so quickly? And I'll drink some Waterboy right before I go to bed. Sometimes, I don't know about you, I always wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning with I have cotton mouth really bad. I'll drink some more, and then I'll drink another one right before I head into work. Feel brand new, ready to rock and roll, and keep my day going.
If you're a partier, very good thing.
If you plan on going to Vegas, seriously. John, what's up, man? What do you think about C. Kelly being the...
Champ Kelly being the permanent GM.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm trying to figure this out.
What do you think about C. Kelly Chicken Parm?
Here's the thing. If you're going to keep Antonio Pierce, I do think that you have to be able to wrap your mind around the idea of keeping Champ Kelly. If Champ Kelly and Antonio Pierce really get the Raiders in the right spot where they need to be to finish off this disastrous season. Right now we're 4-5. You got the New York Jets this week, the Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs, bye week, Minnesota Vikings, and then Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Broncos. There's a lot of winnable games, and there's also a lot of tough games in there. So to me, I want to see how our team reacts going up against the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs. How do we bounce back against the Los Angeles Chargers? Because you can beat the Broncos, you can beat the Colts, you might be able to beat the Giants, whoop-de-frickin-do, but I don't want to hire a GM and I don't want to hire a head coach based off of those wins. If we go out there and we play competitive football against 2 teams that a lot of people would say are top teams in the AFC, top teams that are going to be competing for a Super Bowl, then that's what I'm going to put my hat on. Let's go to Bryant Mullen. What's good, Mitch and Chugs? Damn. It feels good to be a Raider.
Woo!
I was literally laughing with Jeremy because 2 weeks ago, my live title was Raiders Rumors, Fire Josh McDaniels, Bench Jimmy Garoppolo, Start Aiden O'Connell. Here we are 2 weeks later. It's a weird world to be a Raider fan right now. There's a lot of smiles going around, no doubt about it. And actually, I just saw down in the comments, somebody said, Mitch, why is this a must-watch show? It's a must-watch show because I do actually have a big announcement, and I see a lot of people already voted on the live poll in terms of who's going to be in Las Vegas this weekend. 24% say yes, 76% say no. I'm going to see if I can convince the 76% of the people that are saying no right now to get your butt out to Vegas because
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm going to be out in Las Vegas this Saturday, and I want to be able to hang out with the nation. So here's essentially what's going to happen. I need the nation to rally. I was in conversation with Redtail. It's located inside of Resorts World in Las Vegas, and they were like, all right, well, how many Raider fans do you think you guys are going to be able to get there? And if I pack the house, there's a chance that they might want me back every Raiders home game. So if you want me out in Las Vegas, if you want to party with Chugs and I out in Las Vegas for every single Raiders home game, here's your opportunity to show Redtail, to show Resorts World how Raider Nation gets down. So the meet and greet that we're going to be doing is from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. I'll also say this, if we pack this thing, we could stay till 10 p.m. We could stay until 11 p.m.
We can
I
stay
don't care
till
how
1
long we
a.m.,
stay.
2
Let's do it.
a.m., 3 a.m. We can stay till next week.
Well, I can't do that. I got a flight at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay.
So I will stay at Redtail until 3 a.m., and then I'll just go to my flight home. But bottom line is this. I know a lot of people have been asking me, like, yo, Mitch, let's grab a beer together. Let's talk a little Raiders. One cool part about Redtail, they have adult size, like, I shouldn't say adult size. Like, it's like legit gigantic beer pong. There's a basketball hoop there.
Do they have kids size?
I know. That's why I was like, I don't know if that's what I should go with. But it's a really, really cool spot to be able to hang out, watch a little bit of football that's going to be on Saturday night, little college football action. But the bottom line is this. I just want to be able to hang out with the nation. We spend so much time on YouTube, and, you know, as much as I want Justin Gonzalez to get a picture, man, I want Justin Gonzalez to pull up. I want to see Zalesbo. I want to see Jurassic Raider. I want to see Alfonso Raider. I want to see El Loco Uno.
Vinthrak said,
I want to
if
meet
you have
guys.
an East Coast meetup, I might make that. So me and Mitch have actually been flirting with the idea of maybe not this summer, but at some point making a little road trip to a couple different spots for Raider meetups. We've been asked to go up to Buffalo. We've been asked to go to Colorado, to California.
I mean, even if like you don't plan on, you know, going to the Raiders game, find a cheap hotel. And I know that the hotel prices aren't all that cheap, but try to find a hotel, even if you gotta, you know, like I talked to Jeremy about it. I was like, we should get a hotel and might just have to share a bed once in a while, just because, you know, I get it, it's expensive, but you know what? I want to be able to hang out with the nation, and I'm asking you to rally. So if you know any Raider fans out in Las Vegas, please spread the word. The more people we get here, the better chance that Jeremy and I can continue to grow this show and grow it in Las Vegas, which is something that I've really wanted to do for a very long time. Speaking of this weekend, how many points will the Raiders score against the New York Jets? I had a few Raider fans send me something on Twitter, which it was some guy, I can't think of his name, he's a bald dude, said that the Raiders were going to lose 6-0 to the Jets this week. Imagine a talking ball sack with eyes. I mean, that's honestly what this guy looks like. And I can't think of who he is, what he looks like. Or I know what he looks like. I can't remember who he is or what show he's
Probably
on.
owned some sub shop in 5 years saying gabagool.
I wish, man. I wish. But Spoken21 says 31. PG 2869 24. Diehard Raider fan 365 34. Also Diehard Raider fan. I saw your joke about Mule and McDaniels. It made Jeremy and I laugh before the show started. Buzzomatic says 28. Venthrak 20. De'Aaron Morris 24. Tyson Hughes 32. Patrick B around 30 points. I mean, the Jets have a legit defense. I'm hoping that the Raiders can put up over 20 points for the second week in a row. Let's go to Scheffler. Does beer count as drinking water?
Unfortunately, not. It actually dehydrates you. I don't know the exact physics, the exact science
There
behind
is
it.
water in beer, though.
There is water in beer, but drinking it does dehydrate you.
So that's actually one of the reasons why we drink Happy Dads. Now, obviously, if you drink 20 Happy Dads, 12 Happy Dads, you know, you're going to be feeling it. But with Happy Dads, they have all those extra electrolytes and less carbonation. Same still like amount of alcohol, but it's a lot easier for your body to be able to rally the next morning, and it's easier to just be able to keep it rolling on a show. I mean, since we have found Happy Dads, I think that they have really, really changed the way that we do the show, for better or for worse. I don't know.
My body is a temple.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Carlos, what do you think about signing Ryan Tannehill? Yikes.
So, I actually don't hate this.
Nope.
If you're moving on from Aiden O'Connell and drafting somebody as a bridge quarterback. There's worse guys that you could have.
Yep.
It's not my favorite option, but honestly, Ryan Tannehill, if this past offseason, if they were to have traded for Ryan Tannehill, I think it would have been a 10 times better move than Jimmy G.
I think almost anything would have been better than Jimmy Garoppolo,
Yeah.
looking at how Garoppolo ended up going. But to me, I'm not going to go out and sign Ryan Tannehill this offseason. And if you're, I don't know, relating to Tannehill getting benched, and now they're going to go with what's his name as Malik? No, not Malik.
No, it's Will
Levis. But
Will Levis is the starter. Ryan Tannehill is the backup.
I also, sometimes people say sign and they mean trade. The NFL trade deadline's done. But if that's not what you mean, you're just talking about this offseason. No, if you have an opportunity to get a top quarterback, you go get a top quarterback. Whoever the new Raiders head coach is going to be, whether it's Antonio Pierce, whether it's Ben Johnson, Harb, I don't care who it is. If any one of those coaches walk up to Mark Davis, walk up to Devontae Adams, walk up to Max Crosby, anybody that makes decisions at the Raiders, looks you dead in the eyes and goes, I want Ryan Tannehill, you say you're not getting the job. You're not getting the job. I get it. Tannehill's been a veteran for a while, but there's just unless Ryan Tannehill says I will play for the vet minimum at $1 million, then you consider it.
If you want
It's not gonna happen.
If you want him as a backup, though, I think great backup option is Ryan Tannehill.
If you just want to go backup, go with Aiden O'Connell.
Or if you want to roll with Aiden O'Connell, get rid of Hoyer. Get rid of Jimmy G.
Hoyer's gone. You move on from him. Unfortunately, you're going to have to eat some money and move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, and then you make Aiden O'Connell your backup. I think that's fine. Or you let Aiden O'Connell compete with whoever the rookie first rounder that you bring in, and if Aiden is that much better than the kid that you brought in,
if you're rolling with
not a bad issue.
If you're rolling with AOC, I don't mind Tannehill being the backup, though.
I do. I want a cheap backup. Why am I going to pay the backup quarterback more than the starter? I'm not doing that.
You think he's going to get a lot of money?
More than what Aiden's going to make, yeah. I guarantee
almost everybody on the team is going to be making more than Aiden.
But that's my point here. If I'm going to go with a young starting quarterback and a rookie, I might as well just try to find somebody who's cheaper than him. I'm not going to pay my backup more than my starter.
No matter whatever backup you sign, you're going to pay them more than your starter because I think the veteran min is more than what he's making right now as a fourth-round rookie.
It is.
Whoever you sign is going to be more expensive.
If you brought in a quarterback, maybe not like a Brian Hoyer level, but if you brought in somebody as good as Jarrett Stidham,
Tommy DeVito,
he's not even close. And pay him like $3.5 million, $3 million. That's where I want my backup QB. Tannehill's going to make $10 million next year.
You think so?
I do. Well,
if that's the cost, I don't know.
Okay. We got 800 people here in the building.
If it's $5 million?
If it's $5 million, I'll think about it.
Okay. Spoken 21.
What up, Spoken? I think if AP wins 4 games, we keep him as a coach. Nah, I'm not going to go that far. If you win 4 games, that means they've already won 1 game. So that means you finish the season out at 7-10. You finished the season out at 7-10, and then that means you went, 4-5 to finish the season, 4-6, whatever the math ends up being. And what happened? That means what? Maybe you beat the Broncos, you beat the Colts, you beat the Jets, and you beat the Giants. If that's what you're going to put on top of your resume, I'm sorry, you're not going to get many jobs. You're not going to get many jobs. I want Antonio Pierce to motivate this team to show that this is a competent football team that we can make leaps and bounds and get better. And if he can do that, and this team rallies around him, he's definitely got a legit shot at being head coach, no doubt about it. What's your drink of choice at the bar? I love this question.
Didn't you have a little deal at Red Tail as well?
Well, I have a little bit of a deal at Red Tail. So my deal is this. The first 10 people that show up at Red Tail, first round's on me. And I know a lot of times you guys are buying drinks for Chugs and I. I hope when you buy me around on this show, you take one with me. I know Rebel's doing his boot. I know Scheffler drinks with us. And I know that's how we created the show, was the idea of, hey, we can't always all hang out, but let's share a drink together online.
Martin, great answer. What's your drink of choice at the bar? Martin says the one you pay for.
There you go. So the first 10 people that pull up to Red Tail, show me that you're a subscriber. I think that'd be really dope. And then I'm going to buy you around. Because, again, I can't send you guys. a beer unless you guys are drinking one at home. So I want to have the opportunity to be able to buy.
Let's see. El Loco says a Long Island iced tea. I used to frequent Long Island iced teas in college because this bar had dollar doubles. So it would be a double shot Long Island iced tea for $1.
Okay.
$5, I'd be gone. Five double Long Island iced teas.
Yeah. You're like, I started in Long Island, and
now
I'm in Vermont.
Dubs.
Oh, dude. I mean, Long Island iced teas are good. There's no doubt. My dad's also going to be there in Vegas. So for those of you that have never had the opportunity to meet my dad, you can. I see Jameson on the roster.
Marshall went to the same college as me. He can tell you about dollar dubs.
Raider Nation, good win last week. You know what? I'm man enough to admit it was a good win. Good start for Antonio Pierce and Aiden O'Connell. I wish we could got some dollar dubs after that. There was nothing better in college when you had $16 in your bank account and you got to spend $4 and then walk home blacked out. It was the best.
It was amazing. It was fantastic.
Imagine if you had $16 in your bank account right now. Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. If I had $16 in my bank account right now, yikes. Well, I mean, that's how college was. I mean, I remember my buddies and I, we used to sit there and we would debate, do we want to spend 14 on a 30 rack of Keystone Light, or do we want to spoil ourselves and spend 19 on a 30 for Labatt Blue? We would sit there for 20 minutes and debate that. The good old days. The good old days.
You haven't been in the rough of it until you've had a bottle of Taka.
I don't even know what that is.
You never had Taka?
What it is. Jack and Coke from Uncle Drew.
That's like the
Irish car bomb.
That's like the vodka where it's like comes in like a plastic bottle and it's like the red label and it's like the cheapest vodka you can get.
So where I'm from, it's called Bowman's.
Huh? Yeah, it's Germex.
It's called Bowman's where I'm from. Bowman's vodka, $7 for a handle.
The only way to drink it is you got to put it in some crazy sugary juice. Like Kool-Aid, lemonade, all this stuff in there, jungle juice it up.
My college roommate and I, shout out to Force, we used to get like Kool-Aid, or he was obsessed with green tea, and we wouldn't mix it with like juice, or we would just, you take the Bowman's, you empty out a few shots, and then you put the powder directly inside of it, and you'd shake it up, and that's what we would drink. I mean, we were cheap college kids, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Got to do what you got to do. Grey Goose and Mango Peach.
Indy said,
Bacardi and Coke.
Taka vodka, damn, hella nasty.
Adios from We Out Here Entertainment. Peace out, my bro. Carlo says AMF. Man, we got 730 people. Got a few more super chats, and then we are going to get into a story that's going to blow your mind if you haven't heard about it already. Hey, anytime you want to Venmo me $6 for a tall boy, you're more than welcome,
Luis, you've already won 10x that.
Luis
through duck races.
Luis and Nico Laz, man. Luis and Nico Laz.
I think there are about 5 more duck races from owning a private island in the Caribbean.
Oh, dude, we might. I mean, pretty soon we're going to start calling the duck race the Nico. You know, we got the tuna. Pretty soon it's going to be the Nico and Luis race. I believe that's everybody caught up.
I am Punchy said those two kill me.
All right, y'all. Coming up here live on the Raiders Report.
Okay,
this story here around why McDaniels was fired is going to blow your mind. What you got?
Raw Sports, I've actually heard that.
What?
I heard if you run cheap vodka through a water filter, that it is supposed to make it a lot more smooth.
I just find that hard to believe. What do you do with the water filter then? Do you throw it away?
Yeah, like you just get get like a Brita water filter, like just like any kind of water filter. You pour the cheap, like whatever cheap vodka you want through it, and it's supposedly supposed to be really good.
Here's the problem. I've never had vodka that I enjoyed. Like, I could never put an ice cube in a glass and just drink vodka straight. I've had Grey Goose, I've had Bowman's, and it's always bad to me.
You can't drink it straight?
I can't. You can. But to me, like whiskey, I know good whiskey from bad. Like, there's certain things, same with rum. Rum's like, I'm not a big rum guy. Mitch, try Ultimate Vodka. Now, I know if Trivan was here, he'd say, yo, let's go pound some Rumplemans right now.
Oh!
Trivan's a Rumpelman.
Is he really?
He's a Rumpelman.
Dude,
guy.
that is the worst.
I mean, there's at times when I wonder if I run out of mouthwash, if I'll just go use some Rumpelmans.
Dude, Rumpelmans will hurt that hurts your soul when you take it.
Dude, it's bad.
That's a shot where you take it and you feel it in your toes. Sherry May! Chat
Wow.
Sports legend.
That's a close-up. Wild Turkey 101 on the rocks.
So all around that rim tray, I was like, yo.
See, but like me, I like Wild Turkey. I remember the first time I had Wild Turkey, I was in college, and did not like it then. It's not what I expected. Now,
a lot of people,
I'm with you.
A lot
Put
of
it on
people
ice
here,
cube.
a lot of people here at Chat Sports, they fancy some apple pie moonshine.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
I actually also love Screwball.
Tej had a thing of apple pie moonshine. Stuff was actually pretty good.
Well, oh boy, here we go.
Oh,
I'm a big Woodford Reserve guy.
we're talking
I'm gonna
booze
be
here?
honest.
Yeah.
You say
Oh.
booze?
I said both, yeah.
I didn't know what he said.
Booze, yes, but we can talk about the other two. That's fine. Yes, apple pie moonshine. So, little story. Raider Nation will appreciate this. In the NASCAR races I frequent, there's this friend of mine named Larry. Larry's about this
Of
75-year-old.
course, that's the only time you're ever going to meet a guy named Larry. He's at a NASCAR race.
So Larry is about 75 years old from Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
and at every race he goes to, he just brings his homemade moonshine. And every time I run into Larry, I get to go home with some. Sometimes it's apple pie, sometimes it's peach, and my life has changed. The night of the Christmas party, we pre-gamed with moonshine and then followed that up with sake, and let's just say it didn't mix well.
Yeah?
Yeah, it did not end well that night, but it was worth it.
There was a lot of people that had a rough night at the Christmas party. Right, Brett?
Oh, dude. Petey during the hibachi?
Oh, dude, Petey during the hibachi, he might still be on the grass. I don't know if he'll ever
there's
recover.
a permanent divot in Yoder's backyard.
Just an outline of a
from
body.
Petey falling down at the hibachi table.
Yeah, dude, that was a while. And then the Christmas party, there was that. I'm not going to get into that. Coming up here live on the Raiders Report, why Josh McDaniels was fired and why Mark Davis decided to roll with Antonio Pierce. What happened?
Trivan!
Oh, man. What's up, Trivan? Are you going to be in Vegas this weekend? I want to run into you. Trivan, Rumpelmans, yes or no? Yes or no? But I'm going to tell you why McDaniels was fired. Then I'm going to get into a Raiders and Jets preview, some keys to victory, if you will. Then I got some players on the hot seat. If you guys haven't already, give a huge shout out to Mount Raider More Trivan. Just stepped in here in the chat. If you want a quick shout out Trivan.
Trivan says yes to the Rumpelmans.
Oh, Trivan. I mean, it's kind of brutal, man. It's kind of brutal. So, Lesbo, am I going to see you there this weekend? I know you're out in Vegas. Am I going to see you? Nico, I'm really trying to be out in Vegas.
With all the duck races that you've won, you better be out in Vegas,
Nico.
We need you out in Vegas. I say, Nico, you come to Vegas. Whatever earnings you have from the duck race, you put it all on black.
So Lesbo's not going to be able to make it. It's all good. It's all love. I hope anybody that has an opportunity to make it out to Red Tail at 7 p.m. on Saturday, have a drink with me and my dad, talk a little Raiders. It's going to be a hell of a time. I got a burp.
There we go.
All right, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
You guys ready? Let's get this show going right now. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to tell you why Mark Davis fired Josh McDaniels and made Antonio Pierce the interim Raiders head coach. If you haven't heard this story yet, this is going to absolutely positively blow your mind. And if you're a conspiracy theorist out there, this is definitely going to be right up your alley. If you're looking for the latest Raiders news and rumors, this is your one-stop shop. When Josh McDaniels got fired, we went live for 26 straight hours. When the Raiders play on game day, there's no better place to be for an Oakland tailgate. And then when stories like this break, I got to give my opinion on it because you don't get stories like this very often. So to make sure that you don't miss stuff like this going forward, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. That way you don't miss a thing. So according to Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, Antonio Pierce said this During the Raiders meeting last week, if you remember, the Raiders had a team meeting where everybody could say whatever they wanted and it was not supposed to hurt anybody's feelings. So Antonio Pierce said this, look, guys, we have to have our own culture. It's got to be about our culture here. He brought up the old Giants team that beat the Patriots, Josh McDaniels' team in the Super Bowl in 2007 season. So if you remember, the Giants beat the New England Patriots, and that was kind of what Antonio Pierce was doing here, trying to hype up the Raiders. No matter who we played, we thought we could beat them. We had a game plan that we could beat them. We had to believe that, and that's not here. We have to believe it here at the Raiders. We can beat anybody. So Antonio Pierce's message to all the Raiders players out there was, hey, listen, I don't care if we lose 9 out of 10 times. We can beat any team. And you got to be able to mentally prepare yourself to go out there and beat any team that you play. Because at the end of the day, everybody's got to go out there and you got to play the game. The problem was Josh McDaniels did not like the fact that Antonio Pierce was talking about the New England Patriots. So everybody in the Raiders locker room, according to Jay Glazer, was saying that, shit, man, they were hyped up hearing the Antonio Pierce speech. And after listening to Pierce speak for the last, I don't even know, week at this point, if you're not willing to run through a brick wall for Antonio Pierce, check your pulse. So imagine Pierce gives you that pump-up speech. You're all there in the locker room. You guys are like, hell yeah, let's freaking go. And then Josh McDaniels gets upset at Antonio Pierce and, quote, says, don't ever talk about the Patriots like that. This is a story that I thought was fake. I'm not kidding you. When I got word of this story, I thought it was fake because of how fake it sounds. The most sad part is it's 100% true. Like, the fact that he got upset that Antonio Pierce tried to hype up this current Raiders team, talking bad about a Patriots team, which, let's face it, at that time, that's probably the greatest regular season team of all time, and they were saying, I mean, we weren't better than the Patriots team, but we believed that we could beat them for one game, and we beat them in the Super Bowl. That pissed off Josh McDaniels, and you know what? That didn't sit well with a lot of Raiders players in that locker room. So, what did I do? I wanted to be able to confirm this story, so I reached out to a few Raiders players, and one anonymous Raiders player told me when Josh McDaniels was fired, we celebrated. Because there were some players, and again, I had a report that came out a few days before Josh McDaniels ended up getting fired, telling everybody that, hey, there are players in that locker room that do not like what is going on right now there, and they're not afraid to voice their opinion. So then, once I heard this story, I had to reach out to some of my guys, and they said, yeah, man, we celebrated. Imagine being in a locker room as fired up as you are, and the guy running the ship looks at the dude who just gave that hype speech and said, don't talk bad about the Patriots. It's a wild thing. So I saw this, and instantly I thought this question here. And you know what? It's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So let me know what you have to say about this one. You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break. So I want you to scroll on down, let the ad play, believe it or not, helps me out. Let the ad play, go on down, and answer this. Do you think that Josh McDaniels was a Patriots spy when he was the Las Vegas Raiders head coach? Type S for yes, Mitch, he was a spy, or just type B for not a spy, he was just really that freaking bad. I like to believe that nobody was a spy. Just in today's day and age, it's kind of wild. And maybe Jeremy, being the Astros fan that he is, thinks, you know what? Maybe Josh McDaniels could be a spy. I get it. He's been caught cheating. To me personally, though, I just think he was that bad of a head coach, that bad of a leader of men, that too much of a, I used to always say, God complex, where you can't look in the mirror and say, you know what? Maybe I'm part of the problem too. Because also, according to anonymous Raiders players and also according to reports out there, McDaniels left that meeting with his tail between his legs. He was extremely upset that players came and they came to yell at him. Also, a Raiders player told me this is probably a few weeks ago at this point, that the reason why some guys stay on the roster and that some guys are McDaniels guys is because he's too insecure to be able to run a locker room and he needs the players to be able to have his back. With Antonio Pierce, Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, they all said it. He's been in our shoes. He's a player, and people are willing to rally around Antonio Pierce because he is a leader of men. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, why Antonio Pierce is the interim head coach. And when I found out the reason here and what Mark Davis said, it put a smile on my face, because when you see a show like this and you hear, McDaniels saying shit like that and why Pierce got promoted to be the interim, it really gives me that good feeling. It puts a smile on my face that maybe finally, the Raiders are going to be moving in the right direction. Also, huge shout out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. And if you haven't gotten started yet with PrizePicks, what are you waiting for? It is daily fantasy sports made easy. And even though I struggled last week with my picks, I'm feeling pretty confident about them this week. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. I'll be honest, right now the picks for the Raiders game, there are no Jets players featured yet, and that's where I'm going to be putting my money because I do anticipate a lower scoring game. No matter what it is for Zach Wilson, I'm taking the less. No matter what it is for that Jets offense, I'm going to go less. In terms of the Raiders offense, I am going to go less on Aiden. I'm going to go less on Devontae Adams because they have DJ Reed. They have Sauce Gardner, two very, very good corners. And to me, the matchups are a little bit better when you target the tight ends, when you get the running backs going, especially in the screen game. Get the receivers going in the screen game. Take a little bit of pressure off Aiden. But give me the more on Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to be featured heavily again in this football game. You can say what you want about the Jets offense. It's terrible. It's one of the worst in the league. The Jets defense, though, is legit. It's one of the best in the National Football League. So if you're like, all right, Mitch, I love these picks, go put your money where your mouth is, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Or if you're like, Mitch, these picks stink. Guess what? Fade me. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. If you're like, you know what, man, I didn't hear anything you just said. Luckily for you, that link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. All right, y'all, so coming up here is going to be why Antonio Pierce was named the interim head coach by the Las Vegas Raiders, because once the Raiders moved on from Josh McDaniels, there was a decision that had to be made. Who's going to be the next person that steps up? So according to Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, he said that Mark Davis, and this is a quote, according to Jay, that Mark Davis said, "I'm going to choose the guy who believes we can win every single game." So remember, Antonio Pierce gave that speech that apparently really, really resonated well with a lot of players in that locker room. And Antonio Pierce's message was simple. We can beat anybody. If you believe in yourself, if we believe in each other, and we have a common goal, we can take down anybody. That's the Raider way. Mark Davis loved it. Big-time Raiders leaders went up to Mark Davis and kind of really hyped up Antonio Pierce here. But the fact that McDaniels was more worried about the Patriots and essentially McDaniels was not trying to hype up his own team. Mark Davis took that personal and said, all right, here's a check for $85 million. See you later, Dave Ziegler. See you later, Josh McDaniels. See you later, Mick Lombardi. I'm going to go out and get a guy that can rally a group of men and that wants to win every game and that believes in the Raider way and believes in just win, baby. So this is also one thing that I was told, that Antonio Pierce has a legit shot at being the Raiders' next head coach, which, unfortunately, Bisaccia never had. The players, they love Bisaccia. Bisaccia was a great dude. Anytime you can find an interim head coach, a grown man at this point, whoever, that can sit down and write handwritten messages to a bunch of players, that's a really, really special thing. But if you don't think that Pierce has a legit shot at being the next Raiders head coach, you got to wake up here a little bit, because if you haven't been able to tell, Davis is he's out for blood, and he's out for blood in a good way. He's saying, I don't care what it's going to take. I got to get it done. So Mark Davis, from what I understand, is leaning towards hiring a player coach in 2024. The Raiders have had 12 head coaches, including interim coaches, in the last 20 years. So if you're Davis, you got to be like, well, it is more than any other team. You're like, well, what I've done hasn't really worked. And sometimes you got to learn from history. And I think that we can all agree the better hiring would have been going with somebody like Rich Bisaccia over Josh McDaniels on top of the player coach. And this is just the honesty part. When you hear player coach, I think cheaper. And when you consider the fact of how much money John Gruden paid John Gruden, or when you think of how much money Mark Davis paid John Gruden, 10 years, $100 million, too much money. Josh McDaniels, too much money. If you go player coach, maybe somebody like an Antonio Pierce, it's not going to break the bank as much on Mark Davis, which, if you watched our live show yesterday, according to Petey, is poor. So do you want Antonio Pierce to be the Raiders head coach in 2024? Give me a yes, or I want you to type your N for no. And if you're going to say no, it's all good. My only favor, I guess, that I'm going to say here is this. Tell me who you want. If you're going to say, no, I don't want Antonio Pierce to be the Raiders head coach in 2024, I want you to say, no, I want this person. No, I want this person. Actually, you know what, Mitch? I'd rather have that person. It's okay. There's no right or wrong answer right now. Only time is going to tell whether or not Pierce should be the next head coach. To me, though, if the Raiders show significant improvement, I'm talking on offense, defense, special teams, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, their ability to prep. Also, do other players want to come play here for the Las Vegas Raiders? If the leaders want Pierce back, then to me, Mark Davis should end up keeping Antonio Pierce. So as it stands right now, somebody asked me this earlier today. I was like, Mitch, what are the percentage chance that Pierce is back as the head coach? I said 20%. I'd give it one just win, baby, right now. It's not impossible. It's not a great chance. They've played one game, and if they lose, that percentage is going to drop drastically. If they keep winning, it's going to go up, but this number will never go above 50% until the season is over, and even 50% is a very, very high number. So coming up here on the show now, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I want Antonio Pierce to be the Raiders head coach, and I can say that I want him to be the head coach right now because he's 1-0. The Raiders have already shown so much better strides at getting better. And if he is the next Raiders head coach, that means that this season was one hell of a season. And at the end of the day, man, I don't care who the head coach is. I just want to win football games. I want the Raiders to win football games. I'm a lot happier person. I sleep better at night. I save my voice a lot more when the Raiders win football games. And as it stands right now, I do. I want Antonio Pierce to be the head coach. Obviously, that can change, and if they go, you know what, that's not the route that we're going to go. And for those of you that haven't seen this video out there yet, I put out a Josh McDaniels replacement vid in terms of who could be the next head coach. You will not see Antonio Pierce's name on here because it's literally just names from outside the organization. I got 6 offensive-minded, 5 defensive-minded coaches. If you want to go check it out, please, it's down in the comments. It's also on the YouTube channel that you're watching right now. Before we get into the top 3 reasons why I want Pierce here, for those that do not know, I want to be able to hang out with all of y'all this Saturday, November 11th in Las Vegas. I'm going to be at Red Tail, which is inside of Resorts World, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And to the first 10 people that show up and show me that you are subscribed, first round's on me. If you're like, Mitch, I don't drink, well then, hey, well, let's get a picture. I still want to be able to talk a little bit of Raiders. You're going to be able to get to meet my dad. You're going to be able to get some apps maybe. Yeah, F it. Let's do it. Bottom line is this, man. We hang out all the time on here, and I really want to be able to shake some hands. I really want to see the people that ride with me because you guys are a big reason why I do this. So if you could, share the word, spread the word. I want to show Red Tail how Raider Nation gets down because then if we do a good enough job, Chugs and I might be able to go out to Las Vegas every single Raiders home game this season and next. All right, here we go. Why I want Antonio Pierce to be the Raiders head coach. Dude's a leader. For the amount of times that I shouted on this show, Josh McDaniels will never be a good head coach because he's not a leader of men. I said it before the Raiders hired him, said it last year, I've said it probably as much as I've said where there's smoke, there's fire. So to me, the next head coach that I want the Raiders to bring in, got to be a leader. Got to be a leader. And that's exactly what Pierce is. This is what Pierce had to say at his introductory press conference. It starts when we walk in this building. Enjoying and loving the fact that you're a Raider. Embracing the fact that you're a Raider. Loving the fact that you're next to your brother. The power of your coaches and the players in the building to have a dialogue and the trust and accountability for one another where we can start to make change, that's first and foremost. And I agree with him. To me, I don't care how smart you are. If what you're selling is not there, if you can't lead a group of people like McDaniels, it's not going to happen. Antonio Pierce might not know X's and O's. I'm not saying that. But to me, listen to that guy talk. Think about how many Raider fans right now, if you're a Raiders fan right now and you're like, I would run through a wall for that guy. It's been 1 week. That's the type of guy that you need. And if you would run through a wall for Antonio Pierce, I want you to spam wall down below. Let's go to the next one here. I want the Raider mentality back. I'm so sick and tired of hearing Las Vegas West or the Las Vegas Patriots or the Patriot way. I'm done with that. And I'm so happy that that's in the past. I want that Raider mentality back. I want that mentality that I don't care who's against me. I'm going after you with everything that I got. Nothing is given in life. And you got to fight for everything that you got. If you think that you're going to be able to just sit back, put your feet up, it's going to be a tough road for you. Life's not easy. And the way that people have success is when you deal with a challenge, and then you go from there. Good teams have players, coaches, people in that front office that embody the idea of sometimes shit is going to get tough. But if we rally together, we can accomplish anything. That's the type of Raider mentality that we need back on this team, back in this locker room. And this is what Antonio Pierce had to say on Monday. Like, I freaking love the way that this guy talks. Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, every team is pretty much a reflection of its head coach. So, if you're not mentally tough, that's what I pride myself on. Was my way as a player, to have that kind of mindset, not to blink, not to worry about anything. And his resume proves that. When you go from being an undrafted free agent, a UDFA in 2001, then he was one of the leaders, the tackle leader, 138 tackles on the New York Giants Super Bowl team in 2006. That was the team that ended up beating the unbelievable Patriots team. They were able to win that game with a leader like Antonio Pierce. Then he started this coaching career as a high school football coach in 2014. Less than 10 years later, he is now the interim head coach of the Raiders. This is somebody who has dealt with adversity, I think that's the right word, as a player and doing it as a head coach. That's the Raider way, and that's what this Raiders team needs. The final one is this, and it's as simple as it gets, man. Antonio Pierce is a Raider. Think about how many times in free agency, trades, we talk about different dudes, and I want somebody that's proud to wear that shield. I want somebody that's proud to wear the silver and black. I want somebody that's proud to be a Raider. And that's exactly, I am all in on Antonio Pierce. So before we end today's show, y'all, again, I want to show people how the nation rallies. I want to show Antonio Pierce. I hope that one Raiders fan puts this video in front of Antonio Pierce and he's like, this is my type of crew. These are the people that I want to roll with. So all I'm going to do right now is ask every single person that watches this video, every person that's watching this live right now, nation, can Antonio Pierce, our coach, can I get a very loud Raiders? Let's go. You want a shout out here on the Raiders Report? Let's go. Let's get some Raiders going. Let's get some Raiders going. I got Robert Jansen in the chat. What up, Baca Martin, Alex, Chuck Baker. What up, Blue Richards, King Sanchez, Johnny Rios, Nicolos, Slurkane, El Loco. I have a lovely bunch of coconuts. Jonathan Cortez, love it, love it, love it. Much love to all of y'all. I saw Jonathan saying stream audio lagging, or is it just me? Just hit refresh. YouTube's been having a lot of problems this entire week. Just hit refresh.
It's not on our end. I was reading y'all's comments while we were going through that last seg. It's not on our end, so I don't know what.
I don't know. YouTube, unfortunately, they have a bunch of new updates that they've just kind of like released in the last 2 weeks or so. And since then, I don't know why. It's been lagging a lot. It's not just the Raiders channel. It's on all the channels that we have here at Chat Sports. So if you hear it, just click refresh, and then you're good to go. And then you'll be good to go. What up, Benthrak? What up, Queen? What up, Rudy? Appreciate all of y'all for tuning in.
We did have some super chats to get to.
We do have a few super chats that we got to get to. And then the next segment coming up here. Oh, my goodness. Let's go, man. Lost in tight bang! What is up, man? Lost in Tines. I will see you at Red Tail. Drink up. Lost, I got a deal for you. Instead of me chugging right now, because don't get me wrong, I would love to do this right now. Lost, Saturday, even if you're not, whenever you show up, the first beer chug that I do at Red Tail on Saturday with you in person. We'll make a video. We'll put it up on YouTube. We'll make a YouTube short out of it. Instead of me doing one right now, very first one with you. Are you down? Are you down? Lost, you let me know. You let me know. I'm ready, man. What's up, Lost? That shit's wild, man. Shout out to Lost. Shout out to Lost. Rebel says it's interesting. Let me know, man. What do you guys got for me? What do you guys got for me? Lost. If you're in, I'm in. Everybody, if you want to say hi to my dad, give a huge shout out to my dad. Lost says I'm down.
What? Forks up.
That's right, yeah. Antonio Pierce was at Arizona State. Everybody spam Lost right now. He said he's down. I love it.
Realist Raider, that's a good question. Where is Red Tail in Las Vegas?
Inside of Resorts World.
It's one of the newer hotels in Vegas.
My dad will be there.
Towards the end of the strip.
My dad will be there. Yeah, I'm excited to be able to show my dad how the nation gets down.
Yeah.
So Lost, you, me, beer bong race. Good luck.
You, Saturday night.
What up, Lesbo? I'm going to the Vikings game. I mean, if you're going to go to another game, I'm not going to say anything about it. Again, Chris, just hit refresh on your computer and then you're good, bro. Here's the thing. I know the audio is not messed up because I have bars, all this stuff. You guys can't see them on your screen, but I can see them on mine, and our audio is 100% good. So if you're having audio problems, just click refresh. Yeah, I mean, it's on all the YouTube channels here. Just hit refresh and you're good. Mr. Vagoat says you're going. How about this? Who's going to show up to Red Tail at 7 to 9 to be able to hang out, have a beer? Oh, Mr. Vagoat says he's going to the Vikings game. Going to the Vikings game.
Maybe, just maybe.
Okay.
Maybe Mr. Vagoat and Zalesbo meet up for the Vikings game.
Are you wearing your Raiders stuff? That's the real question.
I just imagine Zalesbo standing there. She's like, oh, have you seen Mr. Vagoat? What does he look like? Well, his YouTube avatar is a goat.
So somebody said, what is Red Tail? Red Tail is a restaurant bar inside of Resorts World in Las Vegas, and I am going to be there with a bunch of other Raiders fans. We're gonna try to go all night, man. Giggity. But
Mr. Vagoat also said
7 to 9 p.m. on Saturday.
This is an interesting question.
Would Chat Sports consider covering MMA? Well, we've covered MMA once, and that was 4 years ago. Tom and I did a show.
And the real crux of it is we have a lot of guys who watch MMA. But if we were going to do this, we would have to hire somebody who actually knew about MMA.
Yeah, I mean, there was one day when I found out we were going to do an MMA show. I forget what fight it was for and why we ended up doing it, but the amount of homework I had to do the night before, I mean, it was an insane amount of homework. It was an insane amount of homework. Let's go to John Scheffler.
John Scheffler.
In today's NFL, too many coaches want power. Their job is to lead and motivate men. The GM's job is to put talent on the roster. That's why so many teams have problems. They're letting coach handle way too much. I agree, Chef. With the reports that are just continually coming out around Dave Ziegler did not want Jimmy Garoppolo. Josh McDaniels did. The reports coming out continuously that, honestly, Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels butted heads a ton. It doesn't surprise me.
This is why the Cowboys can never make it over the hump, is because their owner just can't be the owner. He also has to be the GM, and he also has to weigh in on coaching, and he also has to do this. Yeah, you have to have a good support system around you and have trust in the people around you. Yep. If Mitch didn't trust me to produce and was trying to produce while he was hosting, he'd probably be a worse host because he'd be too busy worrying about producing.
I think micromanaging is one of the worst qualities a CEO, a boss, a head coach, it's one of the worst qualities somebody can have because you got to worry about doing your own thing instead of putting people in position to do their thing. And that's where McDaniels really, really honestly struggled. Also, the Raiders, they just made some moves here, just practice squad moves. They signed Christian Wilkerson back to the practice squad, and then they released Austin Ajake. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name from the practice squad. And then they also released Isaac Darkangelo.
Jackie.
I remember I made like a quick short on him before. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. I'm not going to act like I do. But then Isaac Darkangelo also released from the practice squad. Lost in Tyne said, I am a down. All right, Lost. The Naturalist just found out we are having a baby boy. Oh, shit, man. Congratulations. Can't wait to add another diehard Raider fan. Love you guys and all you do for the nation. My question is, what's the name? Yeah, have you picked out a name yet?
Chugs.
Chugs Naturalist would be pretty interesting name.
Bro, he's either got to be like a wrestler or an MMA fighter or something. In the red corner, Chugs, the Nature Man Naturalist.
Nature Man.
I don't know. I was trying to think of a cool nickname.
The Nature Man? I'm not going to lie. I'm going to call you the Nature Man from here on out.
Lost in Time.
Seriously, though, bro, congratulations.
Dude, I don't drink. Someone's going to have to pinch hit for me.
All right, we'll figure out something then. I don't know what. If somebody can pinch hit, that would be great. Lost, we'll do something special. We'll do something special. Let's go to King Aztec. Opinions on, I'm guessing, Caleb Williams crying. I don't want him no more. I mean, this is my God-honest opinion. I'm not trying to sit up here and say the level of college that I played is anywhere near where those guys are playing. But anybody, whether you played high school, whether you played kind of semi-pro, college, shit, maybe even middle school. Middle school might not be there because I'm thinking of like when I'm older. I cried one time after a game that I thought like I pitched my heart out. We ended up losing the game. I gave up a freaking bomb to basically lose it. And I remember going over to my dad, and I did. I cried in his arms. I mean, there's a lot of emotion going on. To me, I look at it as I like the idea of him showing emotion because I want a quarterback that has that type of emotion. There's a lot of people that think, oh, Caleb Williams doesn't give a shit about USC. All he's cared about is just going to the NFL, going to that next level, and is what it is. So from that standpoint, I like the fact that he cares. The other side of it is this. If you're going to be a QB and you're going to write F Utah or you're going to write whatever you do on your fingernails, you're going to have a larger spotlight on you.
You're going to have more critics.
And to me, the tears were, I was more worried of, yeah, he was emotional, but I think he also knew that he was going to get ripped apart for another big-time loss at USC. If you're going to write F Utah on your fingernails, it's one of those things, if you're going to give it, you got to be able to take it. And I'm worried. I'll tell you, my biggest worry with Caleb Williams is up here.
And King Aztec, the one thing I have to think about this as well is he lost a game where his team gave up more than 35 points.
52.
Yeah. It's like he lost a game as a quarterback. If you lose a game and you put up over 40 points, I don't think that's on you. Like, if your offense puts up more than 35, more than 40 points, and you don't win the game.
Yeah, like, to me, I'm more out on Caleb Williams because he, like I said, he paints his fingernails and writes F Utah on his fingernails. To me, that's a bigger red flag than losing a game, crying in your mom's arms because you're upset. I don't care how old. I don't care if you're 60 years old.
Lafayette said that's so Gen Z of him.
I don't care if you're 60 years old. Crying in your mom's arms is never a weak move to me. Crying in your dad's arms, never a weak move. I mean, those are your people.
Painting your fingernails?
Painting your fingernails as a quarterback, I don't know. Kind of weird.
Justine
Gonzalez, thank you very much. Spivey. Excited again for a game, last game in this one. Raider fan since 1968. And he's feeling good. Raiders! What fish is that? Can you name that fish?
Is it a tuna?
My first initial guess was a bluefish. Does anybody know the fish?
No, that's a one fish, two fish.
Maybe. Speaking of fish, if you eat this at Thanksgiving, I'm going to question you a little bit. What's your favorite Thanksgiving side dish?
I had to ask this question because me and Mitch had our lives changed today.
Oh, yeah.
We had...
Also, can I change my jersey real quick?
Of course.
Actually, you know what? No. Lost. I'm going to wear Lost all day because he's showing up to the event. I'm going to show up Lost. It's all good.
We had an incredible sandwich for lunch today.
I had my doubts. I really did.
Hey, Martin, let's just put it on Martin right now. U.S. flags in the chat. USA, USA, USA. Martin said, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving with the British flag.
I know, I see. Martin, I actually feel bad, man.
Martin, what's your favorite color firework on the 4th of July? We love you, Martin.
I mean,
we only mess with the people we love.
Favorite Thanksgiving side dish? I'm thinking like sweet potato casserole. I actually do really like green bean casserole. Stuffing, I'm always going to get stuffing.
Yeah.
And then I know mac and cheese is always served, but I don't know if I feel like mac and cheese was just thrown in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like it's a great side. Mac and cheese is always a safe side, but I don't look at mac and cheese the same. Like stuffing, do you eat stuffing outside of Thanksgiving?
No.
I would never, if somebody gave me stuffing in May.
Martin, if you were to celebrate Thanksgiving, what would you eat?
Yeah, I don't know.
We had a sandwich today that had stuffing, cranberry sauce,
for real,
turkey, lettuce.
Yeah.
And it was on some
the bread.
Toasted walnut cranberry bread.
Well, the sauce was cranberry, but yeah, the bread. I'm telling you what, Jeremy's like, dude, we got to try it. And I was a little skeptical, and I'm glad he convinced me. They also packed that thing.
Dude.
It was a Thanksgiving
It was
sandwich.
stuffed.
I'd rather eat that sandwich than have Thanksgiving food.
Really?
Maybe not. I would want it as a side. If I can get that as a side, I'm in.
I mean, that's everything you need in Thanksgiving.
I'm in. Did you get it from Denny's? No.
No, we got it.
If anybody, yeah, you can tell them.
There's this place called Mendocino Farms.
Yep. It is unbelievable.
Not a sponsor.
Hey, Spivey, that's a 27-pound king salmon. So here's my theory on people who fish. My dad's the type of guy where he's like, yeah, so I caught this 16-pound rainbow trout, which is 16-pound rainbow. That's not even realistic. All right, I caught a 16-inch rainbow trout. Goes tells another guy, yeah, man, I caught a 20-inch rainbow trout. By the end of the day, that's a 40-inch rainbow trout. So I feel like Spivey's like, all right, this is like 22.
I caught a 16-pound salmon today.
Yeah.
Mitch, I caught a 27-pound salmon.
And by the end of it, I caught an orca. Scheffler, what's up?
Have you seen the movie Free Willy?
He's not free. It's not that I don't like Williams, but I question quarterbacks coming out of the Lincoln Riley offense. None of them have transformed into great quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, it's a fair question. I think
Jalen Hurts.
I'll say this. I don't always like to just sit there and look at certain systems here and there because, you know, people said the exact same thing about Ohio State quarterbacks, right? People coming out of Ohio State, they don't look good. C.J. Stroud looks about as real as it can get. And I don't want to sit there and just judge a guy based on the numbers that they put up. And I agree with you where, you know, people who were saying, like, oh, it's Caleb Williams, number one pick, it's not close, this and that. Like, I still think that there is up for debate because to me, what I look at more than the talent, Caleb Williams is, to me, the most talented QB that I have seen coming out of a draft, probably since Andrew Luck, from a talent and talent standpoint alone. But if you don't have it up here, you will not be successful. You look at a quarterback like Joe Burrow, and the reason why Burrow was my number one QB in that draft and it wasn't close was because he had it up here. And if you can put it together up here, you're going to be able to make it in the NFL a lot longer. I mean, it's just been proven time and time again.
Spivey said 27 pounds. I swear.
Spivey.
All right.
We'll see.
We're going to get into this next segment. Mitch is going to be breaking down a preview of Raiders Jets.
Let me get a quick sip.
Coley action.
Yeah, let me get a quick sip here. Let me get a quick little sip.
Also, little GT.
Mm-hmm. I got it pulled up.
Sweet.
All right, man. Victor looked up the sandwich. He said the sandwich is called the November to Remember.
Dude, yeah.
It's memorable.
Victor.
You're going to remember it.
Victor, yes or no? Would you eat that sandwich?
I'm telling you right now, it's unbelievable. unbelievable.
I'm-
It's better than what you expect. I promise you.
I don't even know if the picture gives it justice that they have on the website.
No,
'Cause it was just
I walked back in. I took a leak, came back in. Chugs was eating, and he's like, "Dude, you're like." The look on his face was just like we discovered the wheel. He was like, "This is gonna blow your mind."
it was like whenever cavemen first had fire.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm a Drake May fan. I've been a Drake May fan. You guys got to know that. Also, Venthrak, got to go, fam. Love the nation as always. You have a great night. Everyone say goodbye to Venthrak, one of the OG Silver and Black Hills
Victor
here.
said, "Hell yeah."
Love it. All right, you know what? One more here from Chef. And then we will go to... actually, Chef, I want to save that one because it's going to take a little while.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's going to take me a little while.
We'll do it right after this segment, Chef. Stay tuned.
So after this segment, I'm going to answer Chef's Super Chat. And then, as always, if anybody wants their questions, comments, put up here on the show, we'll be more than happy to do that. Coming up right now, here on the Raiders Report, my preview and keys to victory against the New York Jets. If you're going to be in Las Vegas this weekend, I need you to listen up. Saturday, November 11th at Red Tail, which is located inside Resortsville. If you're like, Mitch, what the heck is a Red Tail? It is a restaurant bar which I'm trying to pack with the entire nation. I want to show Red Tail how the nation gets down. And if we do this well enough, I'm hoping that Jeremy Chugs and I can go out for every single Raiders home game. I get it. You guys watch our shows, and I love the fact that people take time out of their day to watch. But now take some time out of your day to meet us in person here. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the date and time that I'll be there. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll go to 10. We'll go to 11. We can make it an all-nighter. So if you could, show up, be ready. First 10 people there, first round, on me. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, we're going to look at a little early preview at this NFL Week 10 matchup between the Silver and Black and the New York Jets. Plus, I'm going to give you some keys to victory, and at the very, very end, maybe a little bit of a score prediction. As it stands right now, the Jets are 4-4 after a brutal 27-6 loss on Monday Night Football. Now, this week, the entire NFL world gets blessed with to see these two offenses go at it again on Sunday Night Football. The Raiders are 4-5, looking like a totally different football team with Antonio Pierce, with Aiden O'Connell, and I can't wait to see how this game ends up going down. So before I give you my keys to victory, what's your confidence level? And I laugh because this question to me has been my favorite question all year for the simple fact of the way that it was and all the different answers we've gotten, because we've had Josh McDaniels with Jimmy G, Josh McDaniels with Brian Hoyer, Josh McDaniels with Aiden O'Connell. Now we have Antonio Pierce with Aiden O'Connell. That changes the answers. They always seem to differ. But I want to know, scale from 1 to 10, your confidence level in the Raiders taking down the Jets on Sunday Night Football. For me personally, my confidence level right now on them taking down the Jets is going to be somewhere around a 7. The Jets defense is legit one of the best in the entire business. Now, the first thing that we're going to be looking at here in terms of keys to victory is going to be on the offensive side of the football, and this is one that's always very, very simple to me. It's protect Aiden O'Connell. However, I do want to frame this in a little bit of a different area because obviously the offensive line needs to play well. The offensive line needs to show up, and this might be their toughest test of the season, considering of how talented the Jets' front 7 players are: linebacker, edge rusher, defensive tackles. They are extremely, extremely talented. But one of the ways that you can protect Aiden O'Connell, obviously, is with the offensive line. But then also, don't be afraid to throw in an extra blocker, whether it's an extra tight end like an Austin Hooper, Michael Mayer, who's gotten a lot better, an extra chip block, putting in Josh Jacobs a little bit more often, who's a better run blocking or pass blocking running back. And then the other way that you can do it is get the ball out quickly. Get the ball out quickly. Don't let the Jets pin their ears back. Get after Aiden. That way you might get flustered a little bit. Let Aiden cook. But you also have to be able to protect him in order to do that. The next key to victory is this. You got to lean on Josh Jacobs in all 4 of the Raiders' wins this season. Jacobs is averaging just a little bit over 22 carries per game, which really shouldn't surprise anybody. And the way that this Raiders offense is going to click at its best is when Jacobs get running. I went back and watched some of the film, and one of the things that I was really impressed that Antonio Pierce did and this offensive line did was earlier with McDaniels, they were running like a lot of power run schemes. This time they went back to zone. One of my favorite things that Josh Jacobs does when he's running zone is his ability to cut, his ability to see the hole, get up in it, and then accelerate through it. Giggity. I mean, like, that's what makes Jacobs great. The vision's there. He showed you that a little bit. I want the Raiders to lean on Jacobs. Also, so the Jets can't pin their ears back and get after Aiden O'Connell. Let's go to the next one here. It's use the screen game in. I know you guys can't really hear Jeremy's laughing in the background because any chance he gets to show Amir Abdullah in screen, I mean, it's just play the hits, right? But the reason why I want them to use the screen game is kind of what I said earlier about protecting Aiden. Like, they have two very legit corners in DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner. They have a lot of really good edge rushers. I mean, the Jets are no slouch on defense. To me, they're a top 5 defense. And one of the ways that you can make sure that the defensive players aren't just saying, all right, as soon as he calls hike, I'm going after the quarterback. You got to make them think a little bit. Set up maybe a screen to Devontae. Set up a screen to Trey Tucker, who looked really well. Hell, a screen to Michael Mayer. I don't care what it is. I want them to use the screen game more, not just for the running backs, but to get more people involved. That way, this Jets team can't just continue to sit back and get after Aiden, because they will be able to get after Aiden. Let's go to the next one here. Let's get the tight ends involved. The Jets have right now the best cornerback duo in the league in DJ Reed, who's ranked number 1 according to PFF, and then Sauce Gardner, who's ranked number 7. Both of those guys are physical. Both of those guys are playing with a lot of swagger, and if I'm New York, I'm putting one of them on Devontae, and I'm putting the other guy on Jacoby Myers, which means Michael Mayer, it's time to step up. Austin Hooper, it's time to step up. And I was really impressed by the amount of 2 tight end sets that I saw this past week, because that's what I want to see yet again this week. I want to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. Michael Mayer deserves more and more reps, more and more snaps. That guy is getting better and better and better every single week, and the amount of playing time he's getting, it shows. Hooper, though, also has a lot of great ability, especially in the red zone. And this week, I want to see a Michael Mayer touchdown. I want to see an Austin Hooper touchdown. If it was up to me in the red zone, don't get me wrong, if I got one-on-one with Devontae, I don't care if it's DJ Reed on Devontae, I don't care if it's Sauce Gardner on Devontae, I'll take my one-on-ones with Devontae. If it's one-on-one with Jacoby Myers, I might think otherwise, and I might try to go a different route, potentially, with one of the tight ends. And then, this is the final one. No secret, turnover-free football. The Raiders are a better football team from top to bottom than the New York Jets. When I say that out loud, and if the Raiders don't turn over the ball, chances are they are going to win this game. And you do not want to leave the Jets on a shortened field, because they're not good enough to go down and punch it in. Now, for those that do not know, today's show is sponsored by Gametime. Last-minute tickets. If you're the type of person that, let's just be honest, maybe is always running a little bit behind schedule, likes to do things at the last minute, Gametime, I promise you, it's the app for you. So buying tickets to your favorite events, it shouldn't be stressful. You can snag tickets without the stress with Gametime. So Raider Nation, create an account, redeem code RaidersChat for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and a whole lot more. It is the perfect app for buying tickets when you're planning on visiting Las Vegas. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code RaidersChat for $20 off your very first purchase. My game plan for anybody out there that's going to Vegas, which I'm going to be out in Vegas this week. I'm not going to the Raiders game because I got to do a watch party here. But for anybody out there that's like, man, the tickets right now, they're expensive. I hear you. How about this? Book your trip to Vegas. Go out there. Have fun with the nation Friday night. Have fun with the nation Saturday night. And then on Sunday, go on Gametime and watch the ticket prices drop. The ticket prices are going to drop. You can sit there and, you know what? Hey, if you don't get to go to the game, it's all good. Go to a bar. Go somewhere else. Go to, I don't know, Red Tail and watch the game from there. Or if you're like, oh, man, that ticket's good enough, snag that bad boy and then go watch Raiders-Jets on Sunday Night Football. It's what a bunch of my friends did for the World Series down here in Dallas, and that's why I love Gametime, and it's really, truly changing the game. All right, let's go to the next keys to victory here, and this time we're going to be looking at the defensive side of the football. First thing that I really want the Raiders to do in this matchup is stack the box, and I want 8 guys in the box. Remember what defenses we're doing against Jimmy G, we're doing against Josh McDaniels? That's what the Raiders need to do. Nathaniel Hackett right now has no confidence. He's got the quarterback that he didn't want. Essentially what the Jets are doing is the Jets are running an Aaron Rodgers offense with all of Aaron Rodgers' players that they wanted with Zach Wilson. It's not working out. I don't think that Zach Wilson is good enough to beat you, which is exactly why next key to victory is make him beat you. If you put 7 or 8 guys in the box, that says this: I'm not going to give up the underneath routes. If I do, it's not going to go for very far. Beat me down the field, Zach. Try to take a shot down the field. Let's see what happens. It's going to result in an Amik Robertson pick. It's going to result in a Merrick pick, a Marcus Epps pick. To me, the Raiders match up really well with the New York Jets receivers. And if you stack the box and make Zach Wilson try to beat you, Zach Wilson's going to try to do it. The problem is he's not good enough to do it. The next one, and this is the biggest reason why you got to stack the box, you got to stop Breece Hall. This might surprise a lot of people, a lot of Raider fans out there. You know why Josh Jacobs had as good of a game as what he did last week? Because defenses didn't stack the box because they couldn't, because they respected Aiden O'Connell a lot more than Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't respect Zach Wilson in terms of a quarterback. So you stack the box, and you do not let Breece Hall beat you, because right now, Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in the league. Like, he's top 5 running back good. It's a shame that he's on such a terrible team. If he was on a better team, people would be talking about him in that light as being one of the best backs in the league. He could take anything to the house on any given play. And if I'm the Raiders, I got to make sure that that doesn't happen. If the Raiders have a lead and they can't get the running game going, the Raiders are going to have some success. The Raiders, though, this season have given up the most points to the in fantasy to the running back position. If the Jets get an early lead and they can lean on Breece Hall, this game's going to be a very slow, ugly game to watch that I do not know if it's going to favor the silver and black. The next thing here is I want to double up Garrett Wilson. I thought the Chargers did a really good job of this on Monday Night Football, where they said, okay, we're going to try to stack the box here against Breece Hall, try to beat a steep Zach Wilson, and we're going to bracket cover. We're going to double cover Garrett Wilson. Kind of honestly what you saw last week with the Giants did with Devontae Adams. And Devontae was cool with it because he was like, all right, shit, man, we still got the win. If you bracket cover Garrett Wilson and then you make another receiver on that Jets team beat you, that team doesn't have a lot of talent outside of Wilson. He has double the amount of receiving yards next to the closest guy, and certain players are just that good. He's going to get open. He's going to get his. But what you have to be able to do when you're going up against the Jets is limit the big plays. Limit the big-time run by Breece Hall. Limit the big-time play by Garrett Wilson. Make the Jets go 75-plus yards. If you're in an opportunity here with A.J. Cole, have A.J. Cole send it down, even if you're like, man, should I go for it here? Give the Jets a short field? No, you got to play turnover-free football. Why? Because you got to make the Jets go 75-plus yards. Their offense is not good enough to do that on a consistent basis. And if you make the Jets go 75-plus every drive, they're not putting up more than 20 points. Hell, I don't know if they're going to put up more than 17. The Raiders have a much, much better offense than the New York Jets. The Jets' defense is better than the Raiders, but for the first time in a long time, this Raiders defense is pretty damn good, and we got to put some respect on it. So to me, you make the Jets go 75 yards. How do you do that? Stack the box, make Zach Wilson beat you. You better stop Breece Hall, double up Garrett Wilson. You do all this, you will come away with a big-time W. So again, y'all, this is the Week 10 matchup, and as it stands right now, as I'm recording this video, the Jets are in fact favorites. They are favorites by 2.5 points, and the over-under is set at 36.5. So you know I have to ask, what is your score prediction in this game? Jets, Raiders. Give me a score prediction for me personally. And I've thought about this a lot. For those that do not know, my dad is a Jets fan, and he's going to be there this weekend, so I need you guys to heckle him a little bit. My score prediction for this football game is give me the Raiders to win 23-17, and I think that the Raiders are going to be in control. However, if they struggle to get it going early, this could turn into an ugly game for the Silver and Black because they can't stop the run, and Breece Hall can run the football. So Raiders win, move to 5-5, 2-0 with Antonio Pierce after a 23-17 win over the Jets. All right, give me those score predictions. Also, some big-time news here in the NFL. Wild. Martavis Bryant to the Cowboys. Wild. Insane.
In the membrane.
Jets,
Insane
Raiders. What's your score prediction? What do you got
Jets,
for me?
Raiders.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Give me a man after midnight. This one's tough. I'm gonna say 22
Okay.
to 24 Raiders.
So 24-22.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're definitely taking the over.
24-22.
Interesting. I like it. As long as the Raiders win. Longhead says 30-17. Saint ZZ 24-17. Martin 24-17. I got 24-13 from Tadashi. 24-9 from Dexter Boot. Devin Smith 21-16. Tommy said 22. Yeah, so Jeremy's also predicted a tie, so it's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right, let's go to Sheffer. Mitch, if you look at all the all-time great top 5 quarterbacks, they weren't the most athletic, but they were mentally tough and had the mentality upstairs. I mean, when you look at a lot of the great quarterbacks, I will also admit the NFL is a lot different now compared to the way that it was many, many years ago. And I do think when you can find yourself an athletic quarterback that can take you very, very far. Like, you look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's an athletic freak. He's a hell of a quarterback. If he was able to stay healthy, good things are going to happen. Patrick Mahomes. He's got it up here, but he's also an unbelievable athlete. And, yeah, you can look at Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, some of these other, like a Steve Young. Even Steve Young, though, he was a hell of an athlete. Ken Stabler, I get it. He wasn't that great of an athlete. Rich Gannon wasn't that great of an athlete. I mean, they're still good athletes compared to us, obviously, but in the NFL world, not as great. I want to be able to find a QB. Yeah, I mentioned him. I mean, Allen's a hell of an athlete. Joe Burrow's not, but he's got it up here. You know, if you got it up here, you're probably going to have the longevity game a lot better. It's about finding the right quarterback in the right system for the right team. There's a lot of different variables out there, and kind of like, a lot of people were worried about Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter. We're worried about Carter entering the draft only because it was the Raiders. People might have that exact same, I don't know, because of Caleb Williams. I'll tell you this, if you had Antonio Pierce, I'll take a chance on Caleb Williams. But the quarterback that I want, the QB I want is Drake May, and I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. All right, let's go to the next super chat. Rolling in here from Mount Raider Moore, Brandon Jasper. What's up, Tuna? Sorry I'm late, but I still have to do a shout-out for locals for the best content, personal interactions, more live shows. Also, is there a race today? Brandon, no, we didn't plan on doing a race today. I kind of want to, that's not that I don't want to do a race today. I'm just being honest with all of y'all. We've had so much Venmo stuff go on that I just today was able to send the money to our winner from Sunday. So I don't want to run into any complications today for our Thursday show. And then I don't want to run into any complications for our Sunday night football show. So no race today unless you guys just wanted to do a race for shits and gigs. And just maybe we could do that. It wouldn't be to win any money though. You know what I mean? So I just didn't want to get into a complication. Luckily, I was able to, the person who won the race was a diehard Raiders Report fan and was very understanding because I had to send him. You won. He won on our show on Sunday $1,050. So I had to send him $200. Just small increments of it. And some people, if maybe you don't watch the show all the time, you get that first $200, they're gonna be like, this mother effer. And I don't want that to ever get out there that we do that. So I wanna hold off on the race today. But I appreciate the hell out of you always wanting to have a good time on this show.
How's Nico going to pay his rent?
Yeah, Nico's upset, man. Nico's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Nico's like, I'm already cleared out from all my bills, and now you lay this on me?
Somebody said Michael Penix Jr. Here's my question to the nation out there. You get to pick one quarterback, the next Raiders quarterback. Michael Penix Jr., type M for, how about this? P for Penix, W for Williams, M for May. P for Penix, W for Williams, M for May. Who would you go with? Because if you would have asked this question at the beginning of the season, I bet you 95% of the people would have said Caleb Williams. We might have had a few Drake Mays for the people that watch the show. I bet there's going to be a lot of...
Ooh, that's a sneaky name, cup of water.
Who?
Jaden Daniels.
He's a great athlete. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete. I don't know if he just doesn't throw. He's not a good thrower of the football. Like, he's got to be in the perfect system. I don't know what the system is.
I like him.
He's a good quarterback. And he's not a top 5 QB in this class, though, in my opinion. That might change. Again, if he went to a team, I'm trying to think of a perfect team for him right now that's
Chris
kind of
Jones,
legit.
for selfish reasons, I don't want DJ Uiagalelei to be the Raiders quarterback because that means every time I make a graphic, it's going to take me like months to internalize and remember how to spell his name.
Yeah, and then the other reason why I don't want DJ Uiagalelei is because I know I can't pronounce his name. When you listen to reports from one of the reasons why he left Clemson, it was because he couldn't take all the pressure that Clemson gave him, so he wanted to go to a smaller school. He's doing great at Oregon State. He has a huge arm. I mean, it's one of the best arms I've seen in a while.
His running back, who is an amazing running back.
Yes.
I covered in high school here in the DFW area. Martinez, amazing running back. Also, reached out to another guy I used to cover by the name of Ollie Gordon.
Okay.
Current running back of Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Another absolute stud.
I mean, at the end of the day, I need to be able to find a quarterback that can handle the pressure of not only being in the NFL, I mean, like, let's be real. The Raider Nation's loud, right? Like, and if you can't handle the pressure at Clemson, I do not know how you're going to be able to handle the pressure in the NFL.
Tommy, I'm the same way. A Nix is a no for me.
Who?
Bo Nix.
I know you're not a big fan of Bo. I will say this, Bo's starting to grow on me a little bit more because one of the things that I love that a quarterback can do is Bo Nix commands that offense. Bo Nix, when everybody's in that huddle, they look at him and they go, all right, let's get this thing done. He's been very clutch this season. He's done a good job. He's, again, got to be that quarterback that's got to be like in that Brock Purdy system. Not going to be good enough to carry you, but if you put him in the right system, have the right pieces around him, he's going to be good. But Bo has gotten better every single year, which I do like.
Chris Jones says, I know him and his family personally, talking about DJ Uiagalelei. I do have to say,
he's having a great year.
It is interesting with Clemson, DJ, and this their quarterback this year, Cade Klubnik. Both guys very highly touted coming out of high school. Both have not looked good in the Clemson system. Maybe.
I mean, I think Dabo had like 2 good years, and now he's starting. I mean, there's certain coaches that are going to struggle now that the transfer portal is a thing.
But also, I feel like a lot of people are brainwashed by Alabama in that, like, oh, if you're a good program, you're going to be great every single year, which isn't really the case. There's a reason why everybody knows Alabama, and Alabama's the outlier, because what they've done the past 20 years is absolutely insane.
But now, even though you're seeing a little bit of a fall off, like they've fallen off a little bit. I mean, if Alabama would have had, a few years ago, Alabama didn't lose. You know what I mean? Like, if they lost, people were like, oh my God. The quarterback that they have, he's starting to play a lot better. Got to give him that.
All right, one more super chat, and then we're going to get into our last segment of the day. Brandon Jasper, forgot about that Venmo stuff. Actually got my second win ever in 30-plus tries. Nico can't enter, LOL. Let's have fun. I say any super or number from now gets in.
In? How about this, Brandon? You sent in a 5. I think it's fair. You said any number. Any super chat from here on out until the show ends, you're in a duck race at the end for shits and giggles. You don't win anything, just bragging rights. If you want to do a duck race at the end of this show for shits and gigs, get your name in starting right now. Though, how about this? Put in Brandon, Scheffler, lost, anybody. You just want to add all the names? At the end, we'll just go through and we'll say, if you send in a super chat today, you're in. Cool?
Spivey.
Let's do it.
Who is the top Raiders Report viewer of the day?
The top Raiders Report viewer? If I get to pick anybody?
No, I'm saying this race is going to determine that.
Oh, okay. I like it. It'd be kind of a fun thing to do is, obviously like on the live shows that we have, like we do it for money or whatever, and money is always a great way to motivate people to do it. If we had like a duck race MVP, you know how like we do like the Noti gang, like we give like people shout outs? If it was like the duck race MVP, you get a special shout out on a show, and it's just a picture of Nico Laz holding like 8 ducks. I don't know. Could be something. Good night, Tri-Van. Got to grab some food. Peace out, nation. Have a good night, Tri-Van. At first, I thought he was actually going to bed, and I was getting worried about him. I was like, man, Tri-Van must have been hitting that Rumpelmans. It's 4:37. He's like, but the daylight savings, it gets dark, and as soon as it gets dark, Tri-Van's got to go to bed. It's all right. Sucks getting old, man. It sucks getting old. Buddy Bear, how about the joke MVP? See, you already have that one, Buddy Bear. I have thought about doing like Raiders Report superlatives.
Buddy Bear, I said your barcode joke to Marshall earlier, and he loved it.
He didn't get it though.
Yeah.
Not at first.
He's never seen the barcode, so.
I mean, I was talking to Cody, and I asked him, why is Barcode Burger called Barcode Burger? And he goes, only the real ones know. There you go. Only the real ones know. All right, y'all. Coming up here on the show. I got some Raiders on the hot seat. And the way that I wanted to do this is, what number did Raul pick? I got to look at it, Raphael. Oh, man. Yeah. Can you go grab me some water? Seeps! Can you grab me some water real quick? So coming up here on the show, I'm going to talk about some Raiders on the hot seat. And the way that I figured I would do this is because McDaniels and Ziegler, they worked so hard to bring in their guys to fit their system to do it their way.
What up, Borelli?
The way that I figured I would do this show is like, all right, there's definitely guys that are going to be on the hot seat. Guys that aren't going to fit in this new system because they're not that dude. So we'll see. What are you laughing about? Spivey?
I'll tell you after.
Spivey says it was 27 pounds. I don't know, Spivey. I know a bunch of my friends that are fishermen. I don't know. Fishermen are a lot like men. Spivey's probably also going to tell me it's 7 inches, so. Your secret's safe with me, Spivey. Your secret's safe with me. All right, so coming up here. Oh, what up, Borelli? Shout out to Mount Raider Moore. Everyone say hi to Borelli. What up, Borelli? What up, Borelli? What up, Borelli? Coming up here, Raiders on the hot seat. So the way that this is going to go is I'm going to go through a bunch of names, tell you why I have them on my hot seat moving forward. Spivey, I'm hoping Aiden plays out and we can draft a super stud defensive tackle. I mean, I hope that Aiden balls out too. I want Aiden to be the quarterback of the future because if he is, that means he was really, really good this season. And if he's really, really good this season, that's a huge weight off of our shoulders. The problem is, where are the Raiders going to be at the end of the year? If they're a 7-10 football team, right, and you're at pick 12, if I'm a brand new head coach like Antonio Pierce, whoever the new head coach is, you have the ability in that moment when you're hired to have a lot of pull. And if I have a lot of pull, I'm looking at Mark Davis, and I'm going, I want Caleb Williams, Drake May, Penix Jr. Let's make it happen. And I think Mark, everything he's been through is like, all right, man.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay. Josh I. By the end of the season, how many yards do you think O'Connell will have? Well, currently, Aiden O'Connell has 522 yards. So we're in week 10, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Wait, no, yeah, but a bye week. So 8 more games. So 8 more games, he already has 500 yards. I'm going to say in 8 games, I say he's sitting around the 2,300 mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look. If he can be around 220 yards a game, whatever that math is, 220 times 9, essentially. Or what is he at now? He's at 522.
And then there's 8 games left.
So what, 220? Guys, my math skills are just atrocious, so forgive me. All right, so 220 times 8 equals that plus 522. I'm saying 2,282 yards. What did you say?
I said 2,300.
No. Yeah, all right. I saw something pop up on my screen. I wasn't paying attention to anything that you said. So I think that's where Aiden's probably going to be. If he's getting closer to 2,700 yards by the end of the season, that's pretty damn good stuff there. I see one more rolling in from Chef.
Oh, Chef.
Sheffy. What's up, Sheffy?
Sheffy, can't you see?
Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. The more games we win hurts our chances to move up in the draft and get a quarterback. That's just facts. I'm not saying tank, but that's just the honest truth. You're right. You're definitely not wrong. To me, though, this team's not going to tank. Like, Antonio Pierce is not if you wanted to tank, you would have just kept Josh McDaniels the entire season. Mark Davis didn't want to tank. He wanted somebody that was going to be able to motivate the team, and we got a motivated football team right now. So I like what we have to see. Let's go to Luke. Get a defensive tackle and take Jaden Daniels late. Thoughts? You were just talking about Jaden Daniels. Again, he's a good quarterback. I don't know where he's going to go in the draft. When you say late, like how late? Like, to me, Jaden has the potential to go in the second round. All right, he's athletic enough. He has a good enough pedigree. There's going to be some coaches that say, I can make this kid into something, because that always happens. I mean, look at Anthony Richardson. There were people that didn't think Anthony Richardson would get drafted in the first 2 rounds. Has an unbelievable combine, top 4 pick.
Let me ask you this. If the Raiders don't choose a quarterback in the first round, say they don't make the playoffs, but they don't have a top 10 pick. Say they're picking around 11, 12. Would you rather pick the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in this draft, or trade for Justin Fields or Kyler Murray?
I do not want Justin Fields, and I do not want Kyler Murray, so I'll take the 3rd or 4th.
You'd rather have Penix or...
I mean, I'll say the drop-off between 3 and 4 is huge to me.
You'd rather have Penix or Jaden Daniels or Riley Leonard over Justin Fields?
Again, it depends where you're going to get those guys, but to me, I'm not going to trade a first-round pick for Justin Fields.
But if it was a second-round pick, like if they're...
I don't want Justin Fields. To me, I've seen enough football from him that indicates that he can't throw a football. Like, I'm not going to trade for a running back, essentially, and that's what unfortunately Justin Fields is to me. He can't throw the football. And then with Murray, my biggest knock on Murray's always been is he's not a leader.
You know, a lot of people called Lamar Jackson a running back.
Sure, I didn't. I love Lamar. I mean, but Justin Fields, though, has never been able to show what Lamar Jackson has shown, at least in the NFL. And I get it. The Bears have been a bad team.
I think his numbers would surprise you a little bit.
Who?
Justin Fields.
Oh, his numbers are good. To me, I watch the eye test, and I don't look at Justin Fields, and I think that's a good quarterback. I'm not giving up. Again, I don't see why the Bears would give up on Fields if it's anything less than a first-round pick, unless they legitimately have the number one.
Well, I mean, if they have the number 1 overall pick.
But there's going to be teams, I think, that are interested in Fields. Maybe I'm wrong on that. If it's a 3rd-round pick, sure, we could talk about it. But it'll be interesting. How many years does he have left on his contract? I guess would be my other question. He's
in, I believe, the 3rd year.
Yeah, so you'd still get him for another cheap year. It's a conversation worth having. I'm not a big fan of him. Let's go to Nick. If they, I think, win more games with AOC playing good, why would they draft a quarterback early? You would draft a quarterback early because your new head coach would want to draft a quarterback early. I mean, that would be the only reason. I hear what you're saying, like, oh, if we're winning all these football games with Aiden, why stick with them? To me, it's really going to come down to what that new head coach wants. If you're like, I'm not going to keep Antonio Pierce and you're going to bring in a brand new head coach, If I'm that new head coach, there's a 0% chance I'm keeping Aiden O'Connell. I'm going to pick my own quarterback that I want. If you are going to stick with Antonio Pierce, then there's a much better chance that you're going to roll with AOC. All right, Nick, appreciate the question. Coming up here on the show, we are going to get in to some Raiders on the hot seat. You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Let's get this thing going. Coming up right now, Raiders on the hot seat. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Coming up here on today's show, I got some Raiders on the hot seat because we know that Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, they brought in their guys. They brought in McDaniels guys. And my question that I've been wondering is Pierce going to weed out the McDaniels guys, find somebody that he could build a legitimate team around, because the last thing that we need is a divided locker room. So right now, I got 8 players that come to my mind that their seats are going to be a little hot. If you don't already know, we're going to be doing a meetup Saturday, November 11th, inside of Red Tail, which is located inside of Resorts World in Las Vegas, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And if the party's rocking and rolling, we can go to 10 p.m., we go to 11 p.m., we go to midnight. I don't care how long it is. So if you're a member of the nation, you're going to be out in Las Vegas. The first 10 people that arrive, first round's on me. I want to pack Red Tail. I want to show them how the nation gets down. And if the event goes well enough, rumor has it, we might be able to go out for every single Raiders home game, which would, I'm telling you, mean a lot to me. It would mean a lot to Jeremy Chug. So please show up, show support. And if you know Raider fans out in Las Vegas, tell them to pull up as well. All right, let's go to first here on the defensive side of football. I got some defenders on the hot seat. And the first name rolling up here is Jacorian Bennett at cornerback. And the reason why Bennett is on this list is because you're going to see a very common theme here. With whoever the new coaching staff is going to be, they don't owe Bennett anything. And the fact that he has struggled the way that he has this season, why would I invest my time and my money in a player that was drafted by the previous regime if they don't fit what I'm trying to do? I mean, think about it. The Raiders' defense is the best it's been in a very long time, and yet Bennett still struggles. I think when you look at some of the numbers, they don't look as bad, but when you really, really, truly watch some of the games here for Bennett, like, he doesn't get counted against the Devontae Parker drop, like 60-yarder that would have been against them in the Patriots game. That would have been huge. He almost gave up an 80-yard touchdown to Jalen Hyatt last week. It's just the quarterback missed him, but he beat Jacorian. To me, yes, he played in 26 snaps against the Giants last week, but anybody that watches Bennett out there on the field knows that right now he's a liability. And because he was drafted by McDaniels and Ziegler, that means his seat's a little bit hot right now. Let's go to another name here. It's on the defensive side of the football at corner. It's Brandon Faison, who was signed to a 2-year deal. Was signed to a 2-year deal this offseason, and he hasn't played yet because he is currently on IR. And I laugh a little times because when you look at a player like Faison, this is what used to drive me nuts that McDaniels and Ziegler would do is they would pick favorites, and they would just pick and choose, and they would be very hypocritical in a sense where they wanted players to go out there and always buy in. Yet you can have a player like Faison that's been taking up a spot, and he's been on this roster for, I don't know, 9 weeks now. No updates on him. Have no idea when the hell he's going to be back, and it's unknown when he's going to be returning. So if I don't see him play this entire season, the new coaching regime comes back in next season, and you can cut him. You can save $3.25 million in 2024. I mean, why would you not do it? You do it in a heartbeat. So those are reasons why Faison, I don't think he's going to be back next season. I got 6 more names coming up here on the show, and I want you to name a Raiders player that you personally think is on the hot seat. I'm talking McDaniels guy, hot seat. A player that hasn't been playing well, hot seat. Let me know. It's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So scroll on down, and let's see what you got. Next name on here for my Raiders hot seat list is Byron Young, the 3rd-round pick out of Alabama, and I am very disappointed in this young man right here. I will say he's been battling some nagging injuries. He looked a lot better this offseason, and Byron, unfortunately, hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he hasn't been able to get on the field. But he was a healthy scratch last week, and when you're a 3rd-round pick, that's a healthy scratch with a defensive-minded coach, that's worrisome. When you're a 3rd-round pick in the NFL draft, you're expected to go out there and you're expected to play, you're expected to perform. He can't even get on the field right now. And when he has been on the field, it's been bad. He was undersized. People were a little bit worried how he was going to be able to fit in the NFL when you're not on Alabama and you're not surrounded by all the Alabama talent, and now you're forced to go up against NFL talent. Sometimes you can get exposed. Byron Young's getting exposed here a little bit. Looks like one of the worst defensive tackles in the NFL. I know that he was drafted in the 3rd round, but guess what? If you do not fit, it doesn't matter. The new regime could potentially move on from you. I got to give a shout-out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. $100 deposit match when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. And why should you go to PrizePicks? You should, because it's daily fantasy sports made easy. So for any reason out there you can't find what I'm talking about, you can go down to the comments, you can go down in the description, and when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, make sure that you use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy, so that offers your entry. So let's just say one of your players gets injured in a football, basketball game, and you have a player who exits the game in the first half and doesn't return in the second. That player is rebooted, which PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy, which I definitely like because I don't want to have a good run going and then all of a sudden one of my guys gets hurt and then I losing out on some of the money. No, you can still win some money. You just don't win nearly as much. But Aiden O'Connell this week, I'm going to take less for passing yards. I think this is going to be a heavy Josh Jacobs game, heavy running game, really leaning on the back of number 8, which is why I'm going to go more. And I love me some Devontae Adams, but he hasn't been all that impactful in the games. Not because of him. It's just that's been the game plan. And going up against DJ Reed, going up against Sauce Gardner, to me, I see Aiden, this Raiders offense, targeting potentially some other players here. So those are my picks, and here's my message to the nation. If you want to go put your money where your mouth is, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and make sure that you use code CLNS. All right, let's go to the last player here. Defenders on the hot seat, Isaac Rochelle, another player that was getting some run with McDaniels. Unfortunately for him, he's got a new head coach, and he was a healthy scratch this past week. He was a McDaniels and Ziegler guy, and I'm just going to tell y'all, according to a source, that he can be a little bit of a distraction sometimes, which maybe for people who follow him on social media, it's not that much of a surprise. But there's a certain player that I talked to that just is point blank and saying, Antonio Pierce, the way right now this Raiders locker room is, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they were smoking on those Giants packs, smoking on some Garza after the Raiders win, which everybody loved. However, what you don't see is the Wednesday to Saturday, the in-between days. And they don't want any more distractions. And unfortunately, with Rochelle, he cares a lot about his social media. Totally fine. I care a lot about my social media. But it doesn't sit so well with some of the guys in the locker room. Coming up next here on the show, offensive players on the hot seat. And this is the list that I think a lot of y'all are probably going to be wondering, considering the fact that McDaniels was the offensive guru. He was supposed to be able to build this offense, and now there's nobody else out there. Remember, if you're looking for nonstop free Raiders videos every single day, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and watch the show for a week. That's what I tell a lot of people. In the last month, we have been able to gain over 7,000 subscribers, which is an amazing and beautiful thing. And I want to continue this shit, man. I want to get to 200,000 subs by the end of the show, or by the end of the year, show people what Raider Nation is all about. My thing is this. It costs nothing to hit sub. You're getting free content every single day. You want to get a little bit wild? Hey, don't get me wrong. We can put our hair down. We can do that. But if you don't like the show after a week, unsubscribe. You got absolutely nothing to lose. Let's go to the players on offense that are on the hot seat. I'm going to go Justin Herron on offensive tackle. And I think a lot of people watching this show right now are like, oh, yeah, this guy's on the team. Well, guess what? Yeah, he's not good at football. He got some opportunities this past week because it was a blowout. But let's face it, the only reason he was even on the 53-man roster is because McDaniels and Ziegler traded for him last season. He was a member of the New England Patriots, and he has struggled to stay healthy, and even when he's been healthy, the dude is not good at football. Also, the Raiders this week, they signed Brandon Parker to the practice squad, and Brandon Parker is kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. He's always back. I might just rename him The Undertaker because I just feel like he's just always coming back. Michael Myers, right? Like, you can't get rid of Brandon Parker. But Brandon Parker, when healthy, is a better offensive tackle than Justin Herron. Let that sink in for a second. Let's go to the next name here. And I mean, this is the number one guy on the hot seat. I don't know how he has lasted this long on an NFL roster at 33 years old at the running back position. It's Brandon Bolden. And I've been asking, what does Brandon Bolden do? It is a legitimate question. He is only a special teams player, but to me, if I'm going to go out and have only a special teams player, I'm not going to pay him at the beginning of the season $2.23 million at age 33 when, let's face it, Bolden's not even a fast player. Like, you're going to pay somebody that type of money, he better be a gunner. He better be somebody that can go down the field and make some plays. Bolden doesn't do anything. He doesn't play on offense. He just has no contribution to this team. Maybe he's a good locker room guy. I'm not in that locker room. But I know this. At 33 years old, when you're not contributing in any way, if you can cut him and save $1.06 million, which is essentially the vet minimum and free agency, I would rather go out and invest some of that money in a Melvin Ingram, in a Carlos Dunlap, in a Matt Ioannidis, somebody out there that can help this team win. Because Brandon Bolden ain't helping this team win. So here's my question. Yes or no? Should the Raiders cut Brandon Bolden? I'm going to imagine that this is going to be an outstanding 99% yes. And if you're the 1% and it drops down to 98, it's probably because you are lost. Let's go to the next one in here. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. Gotta be on the hot seat. And I don't anticipate that they move on from him this season because the dead cap hit is just too much. But, let's be real here. I know Raiders players are probably going to say, oh, Jimmy's not a distraction. Jimmy's going to say, hey, whatever my role is, it's totally fine. But when you're a team captain, when you're expected to be the quarterback of the team, and you're not, and you get benched for a fourth-round rookie, brand new head coach, that's not going to sit well. Now with all the reports starting to roll out there that Dave Ziegler did not want Garoppolo, that Jimmy G was the only reason why he was signed was because of Josh McDaniels, and the eye test tells you that Jimmy G's not even a top 32 quarterback in the National Football League. Dude still leads the NFL in interceptions despite only playing, 5.5 games or 6 games at this point? I don't even know what it is. But to me, you're going to move on from Jimmy G next season. And the way that you got to do it is it's got to be a post-June 1st cut, because next offseason, if the Raiders do that, they're going to save $13 million in a post-June 1st cut. And then, you still got $15 million. You can't just cut him right after the season, because then it's a $28 million dead cap hit. So kind of what the Raiders did with Carl Nassib, kind of what the Raiders did with Nick Kwiatkowski, where you cut him in March. It doesn't really count until June. So then when June 1st hits, you're going to get $13 million. And Aiden O'Connell's going to be your starting quarterback the rest of the season. Jim Garoppolo's on the hot seat, which then brings me to my next name. It's Brian Hoyer. And Brian Hoyer, man. I respect Brian because he's been in the league for as long as he has. Let's face it. Dude's made maybe close to $50, $60 million in his career just being a backup quarterback. Sure, he's gotten some starts here and there, but a 15-year quarterback, and he's just the QB3. He's a healthy scratch. He's not any good. He was a McDaniels guy. The only reason why he was even brought on the team was to help groom Aiden O'Connell, be the backup to Jimmy G, and you saw what Brian Hoyer was. You saw what Jimmy G was. The only reason why Hoyer was here was because of McDaniels wanted him. And you're not going to be able to save money. It's going to cost you in 2024 $2.6 million, and it's only going to save you $168K. But why are we keeping Brian Hoyer on our team? Why are we keeping Brian Hoyer on our team? He's on the hot seat. So here we go. One more time here. Defenders on the hot seat. Jacorian Bennett, Brandon Faison, Byron Young, and Isaac Rochelle. And then on the offensive side of the football, it's Justin Herron, Brandon Bolden, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer. Patriot, 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 Patriot. I don't want any more Patriots. Jacoby could stay. Jacoby Myers could stay. That guy's a dog. Seriously, though, if anybody wants to give me a follow on IG, give me a follow on Twitter, please don't be shy to stay up to date on everything going on around the silver and black. And remember, if you're going to be in Las Vegas this weekend, hit me up Saturday, November 11th at Red Tail inside Resorts World, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Going to be rocking and rolling with the nation. First 10 people that show up, first round is on me. Also, you get to meet my dad. Name a Raiders player on the hot seat. What do you think, Chugs? Besides a name that I gave, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Besides a name that I gave, is there anybody out there? Because I actually have one, but it's not at an important position.
Okay. maybe not on a super hot seat,
Okay.
but from where we thought he was going to be at the beginning of the year to now looking at a new coaching staff and what the Raiders might need going forward, Divine Diablo.
I like that one.
Robert Spillane's been outplaying him as somebody who was brought in as a low-key free agent. We were talking about Divine Diablo wearing the green dot at the beginning of the year, being the captain of the defense at the beginning of the year, and he just hasn't lived up to that yet.
They signed Jalen Smith, replacement of linebacker.
Smith. He got some run.
Oh, yeah, he played. He looked decent. Like, Jalen Smith is a Patrick Graham guy. Divine Diablo's got some talent. He just can't stay healthy.
I wouldn't be the most surprised if when a new regime comes, maybe Divine is on the team for the remainder of his contract, but do the Raiders re-sign him? I don't think so.
Queen Sarah Otto said Tillery and Jenkins.
Tillery's a good name.
Tillery actually got, I think he led all defensive tackles and snaps this past week. I could be wrong. And he was top 2. Another name is Adam Butler. The other name that, I thought about putting on here, the long snapper, Jacob Bobenmoyer, because there was a report that came out when the Raiders cut Trent Sieg and they went with Bobenmoyer. It really pissed off A.J. Cole and it pissed off Daniel Carlson because, that was like their, you had a punter that was a Pro Bowler. You had a kicker who was a Pro Bowler. And now you're going to go with Bobenmoyer, who's the long snapper. It was like, why break it up? And they only did it because he was a Patriot. I think it's another guy, low-key, he might not be on the team next year. It wouldn't surprise me if they figured out a way to bring back Trent Sieg.
That's such a McDaniels stupid
It's them
thing to do.
overcomplicating simple things.
Like,
you have Daniel Carlson, who was one of the best kickers in the league
You never had a single
at the time.
problem with long snaps last year either.
It was great.
And then they're like, you know what? This isn't a problem at all. Let's try to fix it.
Yep.
Hey, this door works. Do you think we should change it?
Yeah. I mean, imagine if the Astros coach was like, you know what, Jose Altuve, your elbow, a little bit too up. Let's try to bring that down a little bit. Let's switch it up a little bit. Yeah, all right. Come on. Let's be real here. Name a Raiders player on the hot seat. Austin Hooper's an interesting name. Okay, how about this? Let's go through all the super chats, and then we're going to do a duck race, and then I'm going to get out of here. Does that sound good to all y'all? We've been live for 2 hours now. Appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to pull up. Angel Rock, my Super Bowl since Andy Reid era is Raiders versus Chiefs. So you want Raiders Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Oh, okay. I was going to say, who's going to burst Angel's bubble here? No, you're saying the Super Bowl for you is when the Raiders and Chiefs play. Well, luckily the Super Bowl's on Christmas, and the Super Bowl's also going to be Week 12. Yeah, I was like, sorry if I misinterpreted that, which I definitely did. Jeremy's like, no, that's not what he means. I was like, man, I hate to break it to you. This is never going to happen. And if it does, that might be an even bigger problem. Let's go to Luke. What's up, Luke? Can we get JJ a new contract? Off topic. Hey, the best part about this show, you can ask me literally anything. The problem with the Josh Jacobs new contract is this. It's not going to happen. This will be the final season for Josh Jacobs on the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's okay. I think the NFL time and time again shows you that you can have a very, very talented running back, but other things got to be in the right place around you, or else Jacobs, any star running back, they're not going to have success. On top of that, if they were to franchise tag him, it's going to be $14 million. They're not going to pay that money. Jacobs doesn't want to be franchise tagged. Jacobs is going to be looking for a long-term deal. He's going to be looking for a 3-year deal. And if I'm the Raiders at this point, I'm not going to give Jacobs a 3-year deal. Is he an incredible running back? Yes, he is. But he's going to be looking for a 3-year deal. I mean, he's probably kicking himself in the butt for turning down the deals that he turned down this offseason, because I don't think he's going to get anywhere close to that this year. I mean, he's going to deal with what a lot of running backs had to deal with, right? Like Dalvin Cook signed a 1-year deal for $8 million. To me, if Jacobs gets 3 years, $21 million this offseason, I think I'll be surprised. I think that's kind of the number. Maybe 3 years, $24 million, which they can get out of in the back half of that year. Maybe you give them $12 million guaranteed. That's the type of deal that it's going to take to get Jacobs done. And I just don't think that the Raiders do it. Nor do I think that the Raiders should give Josh Jacobs a 3-year deal. Love the guy. Hell of a running back. There's just way too many other options that you can explore at the running back position. That's why I don't believe in paying the position. All right, we got another one rolling in here from Anthony. Kind of hurts me to name him, but I got to ask, Jermaine Illuminor on the hot seat. Bro, just because Jermaine's my guy, like you don't got to be upset to ask me about that. It's a real question. Jermaine could be on the hot seat. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about right now this regime, the problem with this question is, because this is something that I was thinking about as well, what do they think of Thayer Munford, right? Because Thayer Munford was drafted by McDaniels and Ziegler. Jermaine has been a solid right tackle. He's been a solid player for the Raiders. He was better last season, which I think we can all admit. But then you look at what the Raiders did last week. Last week, the Raiders dominated the New York Giants in the trenches. A Giants defense that, I kind of laugh out loud because everyone's like, oh, the Giants stink. The Giants do stink. And the reason why they're losing so much is because they're the worst offense in the NFL statistically. Like, think about how bad the Raiders' offense has been. Entering that Week 9 game, the Raiders were averaging 15.8 points per game. The Giants were averaging 11, right? So they were losing games because of their offense. Their defense was still doing fine. Their defense the week before that had a pretty damn good football game against the Jets. Raiders' offensive line balled out. And if they ball out again, like I've talked to Jermaine, he wants to remain a Raider. He's been in the league now, 7 years? Yeah, he's getting up there in age a little bit. But, I mean, this guy, he's still motivated. He seems like he wants to keep it rolling. But, yeah, it's a good name. He also was a Carmen Brasillo disciple. He was a member of the Patriots. Hey, ask away, man. Brandon, this is just a simple thank you for what you do. Well, then, Brandon, let me say this. This is just a simple thank you for everything that you do on this show. So how about this, y'all? Everybody spam TY to Brandon Jasper right now for everything that he does on this show. So we're going to do is this a Mack truck race? Honk if you're horny, Chuck said. Mack truck race. I love this. All right, so this is everybody that sent in a super chat today. We're going to do a quick little race here. Winner gets bragging rights. After that, if any more supers come in, I'll answer them, and then we will get on out of here. So, Sancho's hyped. Sancho is hyped. Hang on, I got one more sip in me. Rebel says, put me in. I'm a trucker. Rebel, did you super? Let's say we put in everybody that sent in a super chat today. So if you want in, final call. Final call. I'm excited to see how this one goes down. All right, Jeremy. I want to see. I want to see this one go down. In. Angel Rock out of the 20. How much super? Yeah, I'm Punchy. You could send in 99 cents. Send in a good vibes for Jeremy. Jeremy Cole said, we need an AP and Ice Cube video, hyping up the nation. What's up? Yeah, Angel, you're good, man. How about this? Since Angel sent in a 20, let's put in Martin, put in Sancho, Nico Laz, get I Am Punchy in there, and then Rebel. Cool? Nico, did you watch the Jets offense last night? Zach Wilson is ass-tastic. Worst quarterback in the league. Our defense should be able to eat. I mean, it should be. Nope, I'm Punchy's in. I mean, yeah, the Jets offense is bad. And the reason why the Jets offense is bad is you have a quarterback that has absolutely no confidence in himself. And then you got an offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, that's running an offense built for Aaron Rodgers with receivers that they brought in for Aaron Rodgers. Not a lot's changing with one of the worst offensive lines in the league. I mean, that's the reason why the Jets are bad on offense. No doubt. No doubt. All right, here we go. I like this. It seems like they enjoyed this one, so we might have to do this again. Starting in 3, 2, 1. I don't know who is just falling back there, but right now we got Mr. Vagoat, Luke Nugent, Venthrak really putting the pedal to the metal. Do you deliver fish, Venthrak? Nico Laz, of course he's up there in the lead. You got Jeremy Cole, watch out for Brett. John, a little bit of a concrete driver. Jeremy Cole, I mean, what is that? What kind of truck is that? Looks like you driving a tampon. Jeremy Cole in the tampon. Jeremy Cole. And then you got Angel Rock pulling up here. Just carries green slate. That's all Angel needs. Justin Gons. Watch out for him. Mr. Vagoat. Josh Eyes got his eye on the prize. Obviously, anytime Nico Laz is in a race, my money's going to go on him. Josh McDaniels better not win this race. Watch out for Martin. Watch out for Martin. Is it going to be Martin? I am Punchy. Oh, my goodness. I am Punchy with the win. I am Punchy with the win. In second place, Martin. That's only because, Martin, you've never had Thanksgiving. And let's be real, the UK, second place to USA. USA, 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 USA. Seriously, I am Punchy. Congratulations. You are
America!
The wiener. Mr. Punchy, number 33.
1776.
Hit the NOS. Where did Nico finish? I don't even see Nico up on screen. Am I tripping? Yeah, Nico ran out of gas. Nico ran out of gas. Shout out to America for getting that win right there. Suck it, Martin. Angel, cheers to you. Jeremy, we need AP and Ice Cube video. Be hype, man. Nico, yep, I already answered that one. I am Punchy for you, Chugs. All right, y'all. I think this is the time where Jeremy and I say goodnight. And I'll see you later. The next time that you will see Jeremy and I live here on the Raiders Report, Thursday Night Football. I'm excited. I love doing Thursday Night Football watch parties. We're going to turn up. And again, make sure you set a reminder if you're going to be out in Las Vegas Saturday, November 11th at Red Tail inside of Resorts World is a restaurant bar area. It's going to be tons of games. If you're like, man, I got my kids. Cool part about this, there's an arcade inside. There is a basketball hoop in there. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do. There's a pool table, bunch of kid activities. We're going to be sitting there. We're going to have some drinks, have some food, talk a little Raiders. I was talking to some of the other Raiders content creators. They're going to be there as well. I am talking to one Raiders player, 2 just win babies on him being there. So we'll see if I can convince him to go the night before, which I understand if he doesn't want to, but I am going to try. But anyway, seriously, if you guys could show out, this would mean a lot to me. I would love to be able to meet some of you guys in person. 7 p.m., 9 p.m. at Red Tail. Everybody enjoy the rest of your night.